on the Board of Trustees is now called to order. The following trustees are present and participating: Brenda Adams, Secretary; Oliver Mintz, Board Member; Tina Capito, Board Member; Rodney Gilchrist, Board Member; and me, Brett Williams, President and Presiding Officer. Absent and not participating in this meeting is Vice President Susan Jones. Trustee Marvin Rainwater will be running late, but he is currently not in attendance. We will denote the time when he arrives. For the record, a quorum has been established and is present. A recording of this meeting is being made and will be available to the public at a later date. We're also streaming this meeting on our cable channel 17 and on the district's webpage. As a reminder, anyone wishing to speak at public forum must submit their sign-up sheet at this time. Ms. Weaver, do we have anyone signed up for public comment? I already know the answer to that question. I have several sheets here. So at this time, as I call your name, I'm sorry, let me stick to the script, Ms. Weaver, I apologize. The board will now hear agenda item number 1, public forum. The board will now hear comments from those who've signed up to speak. Per board policy, each public comment is limited to 3 minutes. I will ask the audience to please refrain from any public outbursts and to maintain decorum. Parents, employees, and citizens are encouraged to utilize the district's grievance process to the fullest extent possible. Related policies are available on the district's website or upon request. So now, first signed up to speak, we have four students, and I'm going to call them at the same time. They're going to consolidate their 3 minutes, so they will get a total of 12 minutes. That's acceptable, correct, ladies? Okay, so we got Jaden Matos. Hopefully I get these names right. Isabella Rodriguez, Annabella Reyna, and Julia Al-Sadeh. Did I say that right? All right. Welcome, ladies. Your time will start. Please, for the record, state your name and where you reside. And so we'll just do all 4, and then I'll let you do your comments. So if you state your name and where you reside, then we'll go back to the beginning. It'll be your show. We know your district students. Just say Colleen, Harker Heights, or.
Colleen. Isabella Rodriguez, Killeen, Texas.
My name is Annabella Reyna, and I live in Killeen.
My name is Julia, and I live in Killeen.
Welcome.
Wait, do I just start whenever?
The mic is yours.
Good evening. My fellow teammates and I are here to address our coach's suspension. We want to respectfully share our perspective regarding the recent situation involving our head coach, Coach Armstrong, and express our desire to move forward in a constructive and healthy way. First, we want to be clear about our position and issues. The words used during the game were hurtful and not appropriate. We understand why the situation required review and why accountability matters in the form of a suspension. At the same time, we believe growth, reflection, and forgiveness are also essential parts of this issue. At the heart of this issue are young women who are willing to accept our faults and offer a path to healing. What has been difficult for us players is that it appears the additional suspension of our coach is based on social media commentary by a few parents, most that don't even have an athlete in this program. The voices of most of the students directly involved have not been considered.
Many of us feel that human resource decisions were influenced by public pressure instead of a full understanding of the context, emotions, and dynamics of the field that day. We want to take responsibility for our role as well. Emotions were high, tensions escalated, and some of our actions and reactions contributed to this situation. We recognize that inexperience on both sides played a part in these things escalating. This does not excuse the words used by the coach. We simply want to offer context and that we hope will be considered. Initially, our team discussed more visible forms of protest. We've discussed walking out of a game or forfeiting a game to express our frustration and to be heard. After reflection, we decided that those actions would only create more division and negativity.
It would make us and our coach look bad. Instead, we chose this letter because we believe communication, accountability, and healing are more productive paths to move forward. Approximately 76.2% of our team supports our coach returning. We believe she deserves the opportunity to learn from this mistake. We see her not only as a coach, but as a human being as well. She made an error under pressure and has shown remorse. We believe modeling forgiveness and growth sends a stronger message than punishment alone. And we are a progressive, disciplined school district for our students, so why not apply this to our teachers? We respectfully ask that the administration and human resources consider the teachers and the players' voices. We were the ones present and affected. We want to rebuild trust, restore team unity, and focus on the future rather than remain centered on a single moment that does not define who we are as a team or who our coach is as a person. Our coach will only grow with support, and we hope to grow with her. Thank you for taking the time to listen to our perspective. We now focus would take this issue away from what is important to be heard. We appreciate your leadership and your willingness to consider the full story and work together toward healing and moving forward. Respectfully.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Lauren Grimes. Lauren, if you would, just state your name and the city in which you reside, and then start whenever you're ready.
Lauren Grimes. I live in Killeen, Texas. Good evening. In addition to this, I would like to speak on my own experience with Coach Armstrong. I haven't had a coach like her in all of the 4 years I've been at Chaparral. She cares about my goals for college and takes the time to reach out about my film. She made a mistake, and her diligence and patience is immense. When she came back from her first suspension, she relayed a sincere apology and showed positivity, looking forward to an even more impactful and successful season. Her knowledge and impact for the game of soccer will help our team move forward. I believe she is a good coach and a person with a passionate heart for soccer. I do wish she would take this into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Maria Martinez.
All right.
Welcome.
Hi, thank you. So Maria Martinez from Killeen, Texas. So good evening. My name is Maria Martinez, and I'm here to speak regarding the current status and direction of the girls soccer program at Chaparral High School. First, I want to acknowledge the girls themselves. They are strong, capable young women who are learning how to advocate for themselves, communicate their experiences, and navigate difficult situations with maturity. And as parents, we're proud of that. In full transparency, I had less than 24 hours to prepare these remarks, but I'm here tonight because my daughter specifically asked me to be here, and her asking for my support shows just how much this matters to her. I'm here to stand behind these girls and to ensure they feel heard and respected by this board. Now, my daughter, she's a junior at Chaparral High School and has played soccer for this school since her freshman year on both JV and varsity. Over that time, I've seen the program go through several coaching transitions, which gives me a clear perspective on where things stand today. From what I've observed, the environment under Coach Armstrong has become noticeably more positive. There are clear expectations, consistent standards, and accountability across the board. For the first time in a while, the girls know what is expected of them, and without speaking for them, for the team as a whole, I've seen many respond well to that structure. I believe accountability and growth can coexist, and I've seen that happening from this program. That said, there is still some uncertainty, as you've seen, surrounding the program because of the ongoing noise around it. The girls who are speaking tonight are not here to rehash the past. They are here because they want to protect the progress they've made and continue moving forward. They want to focus on their sport in an environment built on trust, professionalism, and stability. Our daughters are watching how the adults in their lives are handling moments like this. My hope is that we show them that we are committed to preserving the positive growth they are experiencing right now and allowing them to take the space to succeed. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next we have Peyton Armstrong. Welcome.
Good evening. Forgive me, I didn't know they were going to be here. My name is Peyton Armstrong of Chaparral High School. I live in Nolanville, and I come to you today regarding the events of January 20th. As coaches do, I got too passionate and I said some words that are absolutely not appropriate to be spoken to by anybody. I'm here today because I try to teach my kids that you are allowed to make mistakes, you are allowed to have big feelings, but you are not excused from the consequences of those feelings. And I'm here today to offer my most sincerest apologies about the situation that happened, about everything that has happened because of it. And I'm here to tell you that you have an amazing group of young women, and I ask that you, whichever direction that you choose to move, please, please, please keep their best interest at heart. Again, I apologize, and I want to reassure you that whichever direction you do choose to go, I'm so sorry. I want to reassure you that I've taken steps to make sure that I can provide them with the best because they deserve the best, and they deserve to know that they deserve the best. That's it. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Mr. Harper, I want to confirm there's no one else signed up. Okay, as we have no one else signed up for public forum, we are closing public forum, and we'll now move to agenda item number 2. For those in attendance for public forum, I know you all may not be familiar, and so we will now move and go into a closed session portion of the section, but we will take your commentary, the superintendent will take that, and someone will be reaching out to everyone who spoke today. So thank you for being here. We'll now move to agenda item number 2, closed session. The board will now convene in closed session for any combination of the following. Agenda item 2A, consultation with legal counsel regarding Senate Bill 11 as allowed by Texas Government Code 551.071. Agenda item 2B, consultation with legal counsel regarding administrative complaint as allowed by Texas Government Code 551.071. Agenda item 2C, discussion regarding board operating procedures as allowed by Texas Government Code 551.074. Agenda item 2D, consultation with legal counsel regarding amendments to local innovation plan as allowed by Texas Government Code 551.071. And agenda item 2E, consultation with the district's legal counsel regarding pending litigation, a settlement offer, or other issues confidential under the attorney-client privilege as allowed by Texas Government Code 551.071. Agenda item 2F, deliberate the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property as allowed by Texas Government Code 551.072. Agenda item 2G, deliberate the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of a public officer or employee as allowed by Texas Government Code 551.074. And agenda item 2H, deliberate a matter regarding a public school student in which personally identifiable information about the student will necessarily be revealed as allowed by Texas Government Code 551.0821. No voting will take place in closed session. Any action the board wishes to take as a result of discussions in closed session will take place after the board reconvenes in the open meeting. The time is now 5:13 p.m. and we are in closed session, and we will go to the superintendent's conference room. The time is now 6:07 p.m., and we are reconvening from closed session. No action or voting took place in closed session. No action is needed. Let the record reflect that at 5:51, Mr. Marvin Rainwater joined us, so welcome, sir. Thank you, sir. This meeting of the Killeen Independent School District will resume in accordance with the posted agenda for today's meeting. We would like to welcome School Liaison Officer Christine Caparco. Thank you for being here. Anyone who did not have an opportunity to speak during public forum at 5 p.m. and wishing to speak must submit their sign-up sheet at this time. A recording of this meeting is being made and will be available to the public at a later date. We're also streaming this meeting on our cable channel 17 and on the district's webpage. Agenda item number 3, public forum. The board will now hear comments from those who've signed up to speak. Per board policy, each public comment is limited to 3 minutes. I'll ask the audience to please refrain from any public outburst and to maintain decorum. Parents, employees, and citizens are encouraged to utilize the district's grievance process to the fullest extent possible. Related policies are available on the district's website or upon request. For the record, we ask that all public forum participants begin by stating their name and the city in which they reside. Once complete, your 3 minutes will begin. Okay, first signed up to speak, I have Johan Rodriguez. Welcome.
Hello, good evening. My name is Johan Rodriguez. I reside in Coppers Cove, but I work here in Killeen ISD. All right. Good evening. My name is Johan Rodriguez. I'm the Fine Arts lead teacher and head band director at Nolan Middle School. I'm here to share professional concerns regarding the proposal for the 90-minute daily double blocking in math and reading. While the goal of raising scores for underperforming students is vital, research shows that for high achievers, the model often leads to a plateau. My primary concern, however, is the elective squeeze. And this is just kind of meant to have things to keep in mind as we move forward through the progress. So I just want to share some statistics. In art, 66.8% of students with arts experience scores in the top half of standardized tests. In theater, these students consistently score higher in reading and ELA because theater is embodied literacy. It requires the exact inference skills standardized test measures. Music, a study of 112 students found that those in music were a full academic year ahead of their peers in math and science. At Nolan, our art department and our fine arts department have won local, state, and national awards. These successes aren't accidents. They are the result of a 3-year journey that begins in 6th grade. We just want to make sure that the 6th graders and all middle schoolers moving forward have the opportunity to try as many electives as possible. Middle school is kind of the time where they get the opportunities that they don't ever get in any other time of their lives. I'll leave you all with one question. Why did you go to school every day? For most of us, it wasn't for the test prep, it was for the hook. And that was either the game, the stage, or the instrument that we were playing. Let's not limit our students to any restrictive schedules that treat school as a chore rather than a place to discover a passion. Thank you guys so much for your time.
Thank you. Next, we have Jamison Moss. Welcome.
My name is Jamison Moss, and I live in Killeen, Texas. Tease up from all members if you can hear me. That's good. That's good. I'm a 5th grader at Haynes Elementary School. My student ID number is 243030 in case you want to look me up. I've been a student in KISD since pre-K, and Killeen ISD is what I've known and loved my whole life. I have had amazing teachers over the years. Shout out to Miss King, Miss Reza, and Miss Osborne. I regularly test 300 points higher than my peers on STAR tests, and my MAP test scores leave no room for improvement for my teachers. I do not qualify for GT placement. I've been tested for gifted and talented since 1st grade and do not qualify because my GT test scores are low 2 points below the standard. I'm active in soccer in Toledo and play against kids already in high school. My mom is a band director in Killeen ISD and taught some of your kids. Your kids' pictures are on our refrigerator along with my artwork. I want to do both pre-athletics and band as a 6th grader so that I can meet my coaches and play clarinet. Why am I being forced to take AVID? I have 2 college-educated parents with master's degrees. I'm a high performer, and my mom would never let me hear the end of it if I failed the class. I regularly visit college campuses to attend summer sports camps. What does Killeen ISD offer me that's better than a homeschool or private school? I have friends at school who are just as smart as me, but I wonder, do you think about me or kids like me when making your decisions about middle school scheduling? Is the schedule you want me to have the same schedule you'd want your kids to have when they were in 6th grade? Please remember that me and kids like me are also KISD. Thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you. Danielle Smith. Welcome.
Thank you. I kind of hate that I have to follow that. My name is Danielle Smith. I do live in Killeen, Texas. I'm a band director at Liberty Hill Middle School, have been for the last 6 years. The first point that I wanted to make regarding this double block scheduling is that our core teachers have been spending significantly more time this year in training and instruction in our PLC meetings in effort to help them strategize, lesson plan, and teach more effectively. Our reading and math teachers actually spend every day in a second PLC hour just to do this. So my question is, if we're going to the lengths of essentially retraining our teachers and building up their skills for instruction, why aren't we giving that project some time to show its effectiveness and successfulness before we change into another schedule that could create more scheduling issues? We haven't gone through one full calendar year with these teachers implementing these new strategies yet. And not only have we not been through a whole year, we haven't actually been through a full testing cycle yet where they could show their growth. We haven't done STAR testing. We haven't done any mid-year MAP testing. We don't have anything to show yet whether there has been growth and success from this new training that our teachers are in. So why are we jumping into a new program when we haven't decided whether the one we're in is going to be effective? I also want to talk not just about academics, but from the elective perspective as well. As I mentioned, I'm a band director, and I'm very passionate about music and fine arts in general. I don't think it should be a surprise to you to know that there are kids that struggle academically despite their best efforts, but they can come into a fine arts class or athletics, and they can be successful because it's not the same kind of learning. It still develops critical thinking and creativity. Music and movement connect synapses in the brain that help commit to memory what they've been learning in their other classes. But because of the more abstract structure of the learning that happens in fine arts and athletics, these things make their brains more able to process information. From a perspective of trying to make kids successful, there are so many reasons why fine arts and athletics need to have more priority in this upcoming schedule than they are. It doesn't seem like we're giving them more electives when they're younger. It seems like we're taking them away. And for students that do struggle with certain issues like dyslexia, or they're in the gifted and talented program, or maybe they're a bilingual student, it also appears that you're stacking their special programs against fine arts and athletics, which means they're not getting any choices there either. So I need you to know that I have so many kids in my band program that are dyslexic, and I wouldn't even know if I hadn't looked at their IEP, because they're just like every kid. In fact, sometimes they're better than them. And because there's something about fine arts that transcends that struggle that they have in their other classes. And what we're doing in this schedule when we take away these electives from them is that we're taking away that one chance in their day for them to feel successful. And we're chipping away at their self-esteem and their motivation. And for some of them, the only reason that they will even come to school every day is because of this class that makes them feel like they are valuable and that they are successful. So please, I ask you to very openly consider what impact this schedule will have. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Next time signed up to speak, we have Tanika Moultrie. Welcome.
Greetings, my name is Tanika Moultrie, and I live in Killeen, Texas. I come to you on behalf of the Killeen branch NAACP. It was brought to my attention of a job posting on Killeen ISD's website, Deputy Superintendent for Learning Services. As I read the job description, it seemed to perfectly align with Dr. Terry Osborne's job, who currently serves as the Deputy Superintendent for Curriculum Instruction and School Leadership. I emailed Dr. Davis for clarification, in which I was told to ask Dr. Osborne. I did ask her on Friday, January 30th, if she was leaving the district, and she replied no. So I decided to do my research. I received her current job description and compared it with the job posting description, and lo and behold, it was exactly the same except for one additional duty. directly supervises the Assistant Superintendents for Learning Services. So inquiring minds want to know, why has this position been posted when Dr. Osborne clearly has stated she is not leaving the district? Inquiring minds further want to know, why is her position posted and no one else's on Dr. Davis's leadership team? Here's what I do know. Upon the departure of the previous superintendent, Dr. Osborne assumed the role as acting superintendent. She was in the trenches with the community, stood by us, was there for us, and never shied away from the hard conversations. During the district optimization meetings, it was her face we saw, her voice we heard. She captured the community's heart. Here's what I also know. When I asked about why she wasn't named the interim, it was shared that the interim could not apply for the superintendent position. But to my surprise, this part was revised when Dr. Davis was named the interim superintendent, then the superintendent. Now make it make sense. I further know that I stopped by here today to let you all know that the NAACP is standing with Terry. I even further know that a woman by the name of Alice W. Dowse paved the way so that other Black women in the field of education could have a space and a place in leadership within KISD. So on a day as today, and such a time as this, I ask, why are we not upholding this woman who, like countless others before her, has put in the work where she is today, holding certifications as principal, superintendent, as well as a bachelor's degree, 2 master's degree, and a doctorate? Why not her? In closing, let me make it very clear, Killeen ISD, we would have been okay with her without him. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Laura Neal. Welcome.
Is it on? Okay. My name is Laura Neal, and I live in Killeen. Good evening, President Williams and members of the board. My reason for speaking tonight is regarding the new proposed middle school schedule. It is important for next year's incoming 6th grade students to participate in both PE and fine arts. I currently teach music at Killeen Elementary, and I have a lot of 5th grade students who have already attended assemblies where middle school representatives have told them they could do both, PE and band, PE and theater, etc. Allowing them the opportunity to explore their passions will greatly benefit them. The transition from elementary school to middle school is difficult enough. Students need things to look forward to. There has been so much research done that proves music enhances a child's ability to learn math, reading, science, and social studies. Music opens so many pathways to a deeper understanding by utilizing the right side of the brain to unlock things that the left can't do by itself. For instance, the difference between a song and a poem is the fact that the words to a song are set to music, and it is much easier to remember the words to a song than it is to simply recite a poem. This is true for people of all ages, but especially true for children whose brains are still developing. There are only 3 months that separate a 5th grade student from a 6th grade student. Middle school is enough of a mental shock for so many kids. Presenting them with the opportunity to participate in both PE and music will definitely impact them in positive ways. Participating in music groups or playing on a team can be the thing that keeps a child interested in coming to school and succeeding because it gives them a place where they belong during a time in their lives where many students don't feel like they belong anywhere. I've personally had students who are struggling with their grades work harder to improve because they want to continue playing in band or sports. The safe environment that a band or choir creates for a child who might not have that anywhere else cannot be replaced by forcing them to do more math or reading. I have worked very hard this year to get my students excited about music beyond elementary school. I have several students, both monolingual and bilingual, express an interest in band next year, but several of them also want to play sports. Please find a way to allow the 6th grade students to have an opportunity to sign up for both PE and fine arts next year. It will benefit them greatly. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next, we have signed to speak Joseph Baez. Welcome.
Yes, sir. Joseph Byers, Harker Heights. Reason I'm here today, I want to speak about agenda item 6, Bravo, discussion of Texas Partnership Application Evaluation Recommendation of a 2025-2026 operating partner. Back in July 9th, you had your first town hall in regards to this matter. August 26th, there was a second town hall, and out of that town hall, they had the district optimization draft scenarios, which stated the purpose of district optimization is to better utilize our resources and improve outcomes for students, teachers, families, and the community. Now, part of that, the restart potential strategies was an accelerating campus excellence or an 1882 partnership. For those that are not aware of what accelerating campus excellence is, also known as ACE, is a restart intervention in which focuses on bringing the best possible talent, resources, after-school support, and wraparound services to campuses. Then on October 21st was the last meeting that took place in regards to this optimization of town hall. In that, there was information that was put out, and there was mixed reviews of 1882 partnerships coming to Killeen ISD. And I'm sorry, what I didn't do, and let me go back a moment, 1882 partnership actually is a restart intervention which provides incentives for districts to restart consistently underperforming campuses by contracting with an open enrollment charter school turnaround operator. Now, what came out of that, it stated that the findings was there was more support for ACE, 71, 80%, 73% over an 1882. So the thing is, my question is, why are we moving forward with an 1882 when we know that with an 1882, what we are doing is the following. Key components of Texas partnerships. District authorizes a partner to operate an in-district charter school, but the partner manages the district school and is responsible for student outcomes. The partner has sole autonomy over personnel, curriculum, calendar, and assessments, and the district school board and staff hold partners accountable through a performance contract. So why is this district giving this type of autonomy over to a private institution or a private entity when we are a public entity? Which also means that we pay, beside the state paying into this 1882, we also have to pay into it. Now, my time's almost up, and I want to address you, Ms. Osborne. I called your office today, as you know. You stated that you have to check with TIA to see if that's released to me. I will send you an email from TIA showing that that is public records, that you don't need to go to them. So I will save you some time, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
As we have no one else signed up for public forum, we are closing public forum. We are going to have a slight deviation from the agenda. I'll ask trustees if there's a consensus to go ahead and do the consent agenda, and then we'll go back and pick up agenda item number 2. Or do you all want to go back to agenda item number 2 right now as discussed? I'll defer to the. Okay. So we'll now go to agenda item number 4, which is a consent agenda. A, receive and approve minutes for January 13th, 2026 workshop meeting. B, receive and approve minutes for the January 2026 regular meeting. C, consideration of quarterly investment report for the period ending November 30th, 2025. The consent agenda can be approved by one vote. If there's an item that someone wants to remove, it can be removed. Madam Secretary.
Thank you, sir. Mr. President, I move to accept the consent agenda as printed for items A, B, and C.
We have a motion by Secretary Adams. We have a second by Trustee Marvin Rainwater. Any further discussion by the group? There being none, all those in favor, show of hands. We have 6 in favor, none in opposition, 1 absent and not participating, and that's Vice President Susan Jones, 6-0-1 vote. We are now going to go back on the agenda to agenda item number 2, which is closed session. And we're going to go back under Texas Government Code 551.071, 551.074, 551.072, and 551.0821. No voting will take place in closed session. Any action the board wishes to take as a result of discussions in closed session will take place after the board reconvenes in the open meeting. The time is now 6:29 PM, and we are back in closed session. The time is now 7:36 PM, and we're reconvening from closed session. No action or voting took place in closed session. No action is needed. We will now go back on the agenda to item 5, action items for consideration. A, consideration of the order of election of the May 2nd, 2026 Killeen Independent School District Board of Trustees election. Mr. J.C. Scholl, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Davis, Dr. Davis, members of the board, good evening. For the May 2nd, 2026 election, we're conducting a joint election with several entities, the City of Killeen, City of Harker Heights, and this year, City of Nolanville. While we're still working through the details of those individual contracts with each entity, Texas Election Code requires the order of election to be executed by a certain date and includes certain specific pieces of information. Germane to this evening's discussion are the polling places, precincts each of those places will serve, and dates and hours each of those locations will be open. Also of note, with the support of the Bell County Elections Administrator, his team, and city staffs, we're going to choose to not have a Coryell County polling location this year and serve those precincts within the school district boundary. Shoemaker High School specifically will be our choosing, and subject to your questions, the recommendation of the Administrative Council is to approve this proposed order of election.
Questions from trustees? This is an action item. Madam Secretary.
Mr. President, I move to approve and adopt the order of election to conduct the Killeen Independent School District Board of Trustees election to be held on Saturday, May 2nd, 2026, as presented.
I have a motion by Secretary Adams. I have a second by Madam Capito. Any further discussion by trustees? There being none, all those in favor, show of hands. We have 6 in favor, none in opposition, 1 absent and not participating, and Vice President Susan Jones. Thank you, sir. We'll now go to B, consideration of the resolution to recognize February 2026 as National Career and Technical Education CTE Month in Killeen Independent School District. Welcome, Kathleen Burke. Welcome.
Robinson and Miss Mahalia Scott and the amazing CTE team that we have, but they are at a CTE conference at this time. Today we are asking for a resolution to recognize February 2026 as National Career and Technology Education CTE Month in KISD. This highlights the tremendous impact career and technology education has in preparing students for high-wage, high-demand careers. The board would also like to recognize the outstanding work of our career and technological education students and teachers each and every day by designating February 2026 National Career and Technical Education Month in Killeen ISD. We will honor Ms. Scott, the principal of the Career Center, at a future board meeting, and we will add this to the next consent agenda.
Thank you. Questions from trustees? This is an action item. Mr. Gilchrist.
Mr. President, I move to approve the proposed resolution recognizing February 2026 as National Career and Technology Education Month in Killeen ISD.
I have a motion by Mr. Gilchrist. We have a second by Madam Capito. Any further discussion by trustees? There being none, all those in favor, show of hands. We have 6 in favor, none in opposition, 1 absent and not participating, and Vice President Susan Jones. Thank you very much. We'll now go to item C, which is consideration of the resolution to recognize March 2nd through the 6th, 2026 as National School Breakfast Week in Killeen Independent School District. Welcome, Mr. Steve Smith.
Good evening, President Williams, Superintendent Dr. Davis, and other board members. In accordance with the Killeen Independent School District's board resolution, we are pleased to recognize National School Breakfast Week, a time to celebrate the impact of school breakfast on student health, learning, and achievement. Breakfast plays a critical role in a student's ability to succeed. Studies show that students who eat breakfast are more focused, have improved behavior, and demonstrate a strong academic performance. For many students in Killeen ISD, the breakfast served at school is more than a convenience. It is an essential source of daily nutrition. Our school breakfasts are carefully planned to meet federal guidelines and provide key nutrients in our fruits, whole grains, protein, and a variety of milk. National School Breakfast Week also highlights the importance of equitable access. Killeen ISD is committed to ensuring that every student can begin the school day nourished, whether through traditional service or alternative breakfast models that reduce barriers and promote participation. As we recognize this week, we extend our sincere appreciation to our child nutrition staff, campus administrators, teachers, and support staff. Their efforts help ensure that students are ready to learn from the moment they arrive on campus. Thank you for supporting National School Breakfast Week. It is our district's administration's recommendation to approve the proposed resolution to recognize March 2nd through the 6th as a National School Breakfast Week in Killeen ISD.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Any questions from trustees? This is an action item. Madam Capito.
I move to approve the proposed resolution to recognize March 2nd through the 6th, 2026 as National School Breakfast Week in Killeen ISD as presented.
We have a motion by Madam Capito. We have a second by Mr. Gilchrist. Any further discussion by trustees? There being none, all those in favor, show of hands. We have 6 in favor, none in opposition, 1 absent and not participating, and Vice President Susan Jones. Thank you, sir. We'll now move to item D, which is the consideration of the resolution to apply for the Active Attack Response Equipment Grant. Welcome, Mr. Scott Heckenberg.
Good evening, all. So recently, the Texas Legislature passed House Bill 33, the Uvalde Strong Act. One of the aspects of this bill was the requirement for all campuses to have access to ballistic shields and breaching equipment in response to an incident. Due to this requirement, the state has allocated $15 million for FY27 for the procurement of this equipment. And in order to apply for that grant, we must apply to the Active Attack Response Equipment Grant. Part of that requirement is a resolution to procure ballistic shields for KISD police officers. So I'm here today to ask you to approve the resolution, again, for the procure ballistic shields for KISD police officers.
Questions from trustees? Mr. Rainwater.
Thank you. You said KISD police officers, but the schools on Fort Hood are military policemen?
So the schools on Fort Hood are covered by the military police. The one question we have to sort out is, are we allowed, we as a district are allowed to transport a ballistic shield onto the installation? So this will be, currently we will make sure we cover all off-post campuses. We are unsure if we are going to be allowed, we will be allowed to provide a ballistic shield. We're not saying that they won't provide their own. We are not allowed to provide it to the campus, we believe. We're going to double check that.
Thank you. I just think it's important that all our schools have the same treatment, ballistic shields. I think it's very important.
Correct.
Could possibly save lives. Thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions from trustees? This is an action item. Mr. Gilchrist.
Mr. President, I move to approve the proposed resolution to apply the Active Attack Response Equipment Grant as presented.
A motion by Mr. Gilchrist. We have a second by Trustee Mintz. Any further discussion by trustees? There being none, all those in favor, show of hands. We have 6 in favor, none in opposition, 1 absent and not participating, and Vice President Susan Jones. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, we'll now go to 6 information items for discussion. Item A, discussion of system scorecard priority 1, student success. Welcome, Dr. Creighton and Dr. Buckley.
Good evening. In an effort to align our work with board recommendations, this evening's presentation over Priority 1 will focus on district outcomes. I want to refresh your memory on Priority 1 is student success. Next slide, sorry. Or do we have the clicker? here we go. So we have 4 district goals under student success. The first one is a pathways for all students to build connections. 1.2 focuses on our state scores with all students will meet or exceed the Texas grade level standards in reading and writing. 1.3, they will meet or exceed Texas standards in grade level standards in math. And 1.4, all students will graduate with high school, ready to enroll in post-secondary education, enlist in the military, or enter the workforce.
Various departments in learning services are here this evening to share information about the work that they have been leading in helping us to accomplish the district goals. Michael Wells, Penny Taylor, and Iris Felder are here to represent Student Support Services. Tish Williams and Matt Carroll are here to represent athletics. Morgan Davies will represent fine arts. Jennifer Roden and Dr. Cynthia Hodges will represent advanced academics. And Kathleen Burke will represent career and technical education in Ms. Robinson's absence. And they will all talk about goal number 1. Dr. Carrie Parker will share information about elementary reading, language arts, and math. And then Dr. Harris will do the exact same thing for secondary for goals 2 and 3. And then Kathleen Burke will come back and share information again about CTA for goal 4. We also have our math DISs and RLA DISs out in the audience in case there are questions that you may have. Our first goal focuses on ensuring students build connections, and there are 5 key strategic actions that will help us accomplish the goal. 1.1A is about building and systematically sustaining a culture of strong and supportive relationships. 1.1B is about building and systematically sustaining a culture of high expectations and safe learning environments. 1.1C is to recruit and retain students in fine arts and athletics. 1.1D is about recruiting and retaining students in advanced academics. And then we'll close out those key strategic actions with expanding innovative career and technical education opportunities and outcomes. So we have Michael Wells to discuss information about a strong culture and supportive relationships.
Thank you, Dr. Creighton. Good evening. Priority 1.1A is a measurement of our campus and classroom culture. Before we begin, please understand that this data is not a surprise to our campuses. Campus leaders are able to view the survey results in real time as the survey data is collected along the way. As we begin looking at the elementary data, we see that the leader survey remains steady, while there's a positive trend upward for family, student, culture, and the teacher surveys. The difference between the teacher and culture survey is that the culture survey contains responses from all campus staff, not just teachers. The scores are what we would expect to see in a second year of implementation of the Capturing Kids' Hearts program. Looking at the middle school data, we see a dip in the family and student responses, while the campus culture and leader results remain steady. We see a rise in the results of the teacher implementation, which is very promising. An example of a question that was asked of families is, I feel welcome at my student's school, and my student's school cares for my child. Examples of questions asked of students include, my teachers treat me with respect, and my teachers use activities to create connections and relationships with students. The high school results show growth in the student, family, and teacher surveys, and the leader survey remains steady. We see a slight dip in the campus culture score, but is still very high at 4.0. An example of a question in the culture survey is the principal provides opportunities for campus staff to give input about campus decisions. I also at this time want to bring your attention to the attachment that was provided to you that details strategic next steps that are planned to address areas of need as we move forward. As we look at the last slide, or the last chart, as a district as a whole, we have much to celebrate. The surveys show that we have a highly relational culture amongst the campus staff. Students feel empowered to give affirmations, both written and verbal. Leaders seek input when making decisions, and teachers use the social contracts to correct negative behavior in the classroom. Are there any questions about the culture survey data?
Questions from trustees?
Good evening, Board President, trustees, and superintendent. Next, we're reviewing priority 1.1B. And we're looking at the average daily attendance, and then there's also a discipline chart. So as a brief recap, we concluded the 2024-2025 school year with an average daily attendance rate of 93.5%, representing a 1.1 increase from the 2023-2024 school year. We are encouraged by this progress, and we're pleased to begin the current school year building on those gains. This evening, I'd like to draw your attention to the chart on the left for the average daily attendance and the trends across the 3 school years. If you notice, you have 3 colors. Blue represents 2023-2024, the orange is 2024-2025, and the green represents 2025-2026. Now, for ease of viewing, the monthly 88 percentages are listed along the bottom of the chart in chronological order. As shown, August, September, October, and November demonstrate consistent year-over-year increases in the average daily attendance. December shows some fluctuation, which we are closely monitoring and actively addressing through targeted attendance strategies. We are particularly excited, though, to highlight January's performance, which reflects an increase of more than 4 percentage points, rising from 90.92 last year to 94.39% this year in January, returning from the winter break. Moving forward, we will continue to monitor attendance weekly, conduct monthly comparisons, and implement responsive intervention throughout the semester to sustain this momentum. We will return to the board with the end-of-the-year data and outcomes as a part of our continued accountability and reporting. You have any questions for the average daily attendance?
Questions from trustees?
Micah will return for discipline.
Thank you, Ms. Felder. As we look at the chart on the right, we see the data for the ISS, OSS, and DAAP placements. As you look at the chart, the blue and orange bars show data from the previous 2 years encompassing the entire school year. The green bar shows the data for this school year, which only shows this one semester's data collected so far. It is difficult to compare directly, as we know that there have been a number of legislative and local policy changes that occurred before the start of this school year. This makes it kind of an apples to oranges comparison. But please understand that we're going to continue to track these data points and create a new baseline moving forward. Is there any questions about the ISS, OSS, and DAP placement data?
Questions from trustees? Mr. Mintz?
Just briefly, Mr. Wells, is it possible maybe next time we look at that as a percentage or some other relational number as opposed to a raw number? That might give us a better read?
Yes, sir.
Just a suggestion.
Yes, sir.
Questions? Good, thank you, sir.
Good evening, everyone. Our long-term goal with athletics is to sustain at least 33% participation in athletic courses among secondary students by 2029. At the start of the year, 32% of our students, secondary students, were participating in athletic courses, but at the start of the second semester, the percentage did dip to 30%. While researching the reasons for this decline, we found that the initial data was pulled prior to scrubbing and changing schedules at the beginning of the school year. Schedule changes at the semester break are also expected, particularly following the conclusion of fall sports and as seniors and other students adjust schedules to meet graduation requirements. We will continue to work with our campuses to increase student participation toward our goal of 33%. Any questions?
Questions from trustees?
The fine arts enrollment goal is 70% of all secondary students by 2029. Looking at the blue bar from the fall semester to the purple bar in the spring semester, fine arts enrollment is holding steady at 60%. We have some celebrations to share regarding our recruitment efforts. We have seen an increase among all programs in recruitment and program building activities. In fact, 2/3 of our elementary music teachers report having received fine arts visits in this past fall. In January, we welcomed 110 fourth and fifth grade students in our elementary string camp, which is an increase of 175% from last year. And we look forward to sharing continued updates and additional celebrations with you in the future.
Questions from trustees? Mr. Rainwater.
We just talked about double blocking, and it's going to take some kids out of athletics and fine arts. So I'm just wondering if we need to revisit these goals and state them in a different way.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yes, ma'am, I can. We just talked about double blocking. That's going to take some kids out of possibly take kids out of fine arts and athletics. My question becomes that we need to rewrite these goals that reflect those new changes in our district. I guess that's Dr. Davis's goal, position.
I can talk towards it.
I don't care who answers it, I just need an answer.
We're going to do a double block presentation of proposed. It's not a final presentation, so once we land on a final schedule, we will take that into consideration and see if that needs to be done, but hopefully the goals can still remain the same.
That'd be great, they could.
Okay? Thank you.
Good evening, Board. I'm presenting Priority 1.1D, which addresses advanced academics. As you know, our goal is to have 57% of our secondary students to be enrolled in advanced academic courses, and then 51% of our students in AP courses to earn a 3 or higher on their exam. You'll see under honors enrollment that we are sitting at 48%. That is a win at this time of the year because many of our students, those courses become more rigorous the second semester, and our students are choosing to stay in those rigorous courses. Looking at dual credit enrollment, we're steady at 12%. I do want you to take note that although it might seem alarming that there was a alleged drop from your first data point, please remember that that data represented number of courses. When we realized that that is not actually the data we're looking for students, we revised that so that subsequent data now reflects students who are enrolled. So it is not a drop. The same thing is the case for AP enrollment. Originally, we were tracking courses. Then following that point in time, we decided to track students. 17% again is holding steady, reflecting the fact that our students are choosing to stay in their AP courses. And finally, the last data point that we're looking at is how the students are scoring. One more time, I'll point out that amazing jump between last year and this year, but our current school year, those scores will not come in until May when our students take the exams, so we will have to wait. We anticipate that they will be as successful as they were last year. Do you have any questions?
Questions from trustees? Mr. Rainwater.
Jenny,
Yes, sir.
Since you're an Ellison graduate, I know you know the answer.
Yes,
but
sir.
Do dual credit enrollment people and AP enrollment people take the AP test for credit? Or is it just the AP enrollment guys?
The AP enrollment students are taking the AP exam, but again, that is an exam that is separate from credit in the class. You can take the class to earn credit in high school. You take the exam to see if you're going to earn credit for college.
So then you get on your high school transcript college credit for that class.
Depending on what the college
If it
chooses to
aligns
award.
with
Yes,
your-
sir, and the score that you earn. That's
And
why
we-
it's so important that our students earn at least a 3 or higher.
And we pay for the test still?
Yes, sir, we do.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Any other questions from trustees? Thank you.
Good evening. I'm going to talk about expanding an innovative career and technical education opportunity and outcomes. As you can see, we've been holding steady at 21 to 23%, but you can see we had a great jump last year, and we went up 8 percentage points. The focus is to optimize opportunities to increase CTE completion beyond the current percentage by expanding innovative CTE pathways, strengthening our industry partnerships, and improving student and parent awareness through course planning, social media, and event awareness. Do we have any questions?
Questions from trustees?
Good evening. We are excited to transition now to 1.2, where we talk through our reading language arts expectations and goals. As we look into key strategic action 1.2A, we are celebrating gains made in reading language arts as we monitor instruction and intervention with real-time data throughout the first semester. For 2029, the long-term goal for reading language arts in elementary is that 60% of STAR assessed students would score meets or above grade level, which is reflected by the green line you see here. We set goals for incremental progress according to data analysis, and the short-term goal for 2026 is that 50% of students would score meets or above grade level, which is reflected by the red line. We monitor student progress in reading language arts using multiple assessments. Starting left to right, pre-K students are assessed with CIRCLE. CIRCLE measures early literacy development across 4 domains: rapid letter naming, rapid vocabulary, and overall math and phonological awareness. The on-track designation indicates students are meeting age-appropriate developmental benchmarks that become more rigorous with each assessment period. The gray bar here represents that 66% of pre-K students that were considered on track at the end of last school year, and the blue bar represents the 76% of pre-K students who are on track at the middle of this school year. Pre-K students are making strong progress in all areas, with letter naming and vocabulary showing the biggest improvements at over 20 percentage points each. Kinder, first, and second grade students take the iReady diagnostic. The gray bar here represents the percentage of students on or above grade level at the beginning of this school year versus the blue bar that represents students on or above grade level at the middle of the year. The reading diagnostic tracks reading proficiency across multiple literacy domains, including phonological awareness, phonics, high-frequency words, vocabulary, and comprehension. Kinder through second grade students demonstrated significant growth at all grade levels. Kindergarten proficiency has jumped from 24% to 61%. First grade more than doubled from 13 to 32%. Second grade nearly doubled from 22 to 42, and students have made consistent gains of 20 to 30 percentage points across all literacy skills. Lastly, third through fifth grade students take STAR. On the far right, we compare STAR scores from spring of 2025, or the end of the year last year, to the most recent STAR-like test, which we administered in the second 9 weeks benchmark. It was taken at the middle of this school year. The gray bar represents the percentage of students at meets or above for STAR in spring of 2025, and the blue bar represents the percentage of students at meets or above using the second 9 weeks benchmark. The second 9 weeks benchmark mirrored STAR in rigor and item type and covered standards cumulative for the first semester. Assessments were composed of released STAR items from the 2023 and 2024 administrations. Middle of the year data, which represented only half of the standards covered on STAR, surpassed end of year scores in third grade. Middle of the year scores in fourth and fifth grade were 5 to 7 percentage points away from the end of year scores in fourth and fifth grade. Are there any questions about elementary reading language arts data?
Mr. Rainwater.
It's a hard question. I'm not playing stump the staff, but do you have any information about what happens between kindergarten at 61% and then the drop to 32%? Is that a curriculum thing, a reading thing? Could you tell me what's going on there?
There is an extreme learning curve from kindergarten to first grade. First grade is the grade level where our students have to make the greatest gains in reading progress. They have to gain the most, not only in their skills to decode words, but then start to gain meaning and comprehension within the things that they're decoding. So there is sometimes a natural drop. We're continuing to monitor that and provide recommendations and moving forward to really continue to watch that through spring semester. Because our iReady data allows us to look at each subtest, we're able to see specifically within the domains if that is more of a phonics challenge versus a comprehension challenge, a phonological awareness, which is slightly different. So we are continuing through our structured literacy efforts to implement solid Tier 1 instruction to improve those scores.
And the other side of the coin, the second grade guys doubled, so congratulations. Are there new curriculums involved in any of these?
This is our second year to be
Second.
using Savas for our Tier 1
Savas.
curriculum. Interesting that you make comment around second grade, because we've also been excited to see growth in our upper grades based on the fact that this is our fourth year to use benchmark phonics. So students who were with us in KISD as kindergartners and are now in maybe second, third, and so forth, have had consistency around the same systematic explicit instruction in phonics, which have really started to make momentum gains as they've gotten older, which is what research tells us should happen, and it's exciting to see that that is happening. So we are expectant that our second grade scores have grown because of that improvement.
Great.
I want to jump in and make a shameless plug at this point. You know, we applied for and received the grant for Texas Reads, Texas Leads. That's a part of the Holsworth organization. We had 4 or 5 districts in Killeen ISD today with representatives from that organization observing what has been implemented in Killeen ISD related to structured literacy. So we've had a big push that moved us away from a balanced literacy approach to reading instruction to structured literacy that aligns with what we learned in the Reading Academy, and they were above complimentary about what they observed at Clifton Park Elementary. And we were super excited to share with them that not only great things like that are happening at Clifton Park, but they're happening at other campuses in our district as well. So we'll follow up with another visit next week at another one of our elementary campuses to celebrate what's happening with structural literacy. So we're expecting that those systems and processes that we're doing in those primary grades will lead up to what will happen for our students in tested grade levels.
That was Texas Lead?
Texas Reads, Texas Leads,
Thank you.
from the
Thank you,
Holsworth
Dr. Craig.
organization, yes, sir.
Any additional questions? Okay, I'm going to let my partner take over with secondary.
Good evening. Aligned with elementary for 2029, the long-term goal for reading language arts is 60% of STAR assessed students will score meets or at grade level, which is reflected by the green bar as well. We set goals for incremental progress according to data analysis, and the short-term goal for 2026 is that 50% of students will score meets or above grade level, which is reflected by the red line. The gray bars are the Reading Language Arts STAR results for 2025, and the blue bars are the Reading Language Arts middle of the year data from the second benchmark, which was also half a STAR test, covering only taught TEKS based on our current district pacing. Campuses can also see this data for their campuses in real time in Eduphoria. As you can see, each grade level made gains in reading language arts. In middle school, the gains are from 1% to 7%, and in high school, from 18% to 25%. Any questions?
Questions from trustees? Mr. Rainwater.
Donna, if, I'd be curious to know, when you have time,
Okay.
if you would please tell me how these scores are going forward in our low-performing middle schools, particularly Manor.
Okay.
I
We can
just-
definitely tease
So
those out
did we
for each
sustain
campus. We
across?
have that, I just don't have all of that data
Thank
with
you.
me
I'm-
tonight,
Thank you so much.
but definitely. Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you.
All right, we're excited to transition now to talk more about our progress in math. In elementary, for 2029, the long-term goal for math is 60% of STAR assessed students scoring meets or above, which is reflected here by the green bar. And we set goals for that incremental progress. According to data analysis, our short-term goal in elementary is for 43% of students in 2026 to score meets or above, which is reflected there by the red line. As in reading language arts, we monitor students' progress in math using multiple assessments. Starting left to right, we have pre-K and circle. The gray bar represents 77% of pre-K students that were considered on track or making age-appropriate developmental benchmarks at the end of last school year. And the blue bar represents 81% of pre-K students on track at the middle of this school year. Pre-K students showed steady growth in math skills throughout the first half of our year. Overall math proficiency increased 8 percentage points, and this demonstrates that students made consistent progress in foundational numeracy skills across 7 specific areas, including rote counting, shape naming, shape discrimination, number naming, counting sets, and operations. Like in reading, kinder, first, and second grade students take the iReady diagnostic. The gray bar represents the percentage of students on or above at the beginning of the year versus the blue that represents students on or above at the middle of the year. The math diagnostic tracks math proficiency across multiple domains, including number operations, algebra and algebraic thinking, measurement and data, and geometry. K-2 students demonstrated significant growth at all grade levels. Kindergarten proficiency jumped from 11 to 44%, first grade almost quadrupled from 5 to 23, and second grade more than tripled from 9 to 31. Students made gains ranging from 18 to 33 percentage points across math domains, with algebra and algebraic reasoning showing particularly strong growth. Lastly, similar to reading, 3rd through 5th grade students take STAR. Here we compare STAR scores from spring of 2025 again, or the end of the year last year, to the most recent STAR-like test, which was our second 9 weeks benchmark, taken at the middle of the year. The gray bar represents the percentage of students at meets or above for STAR 2025, and the blue bar represents the percentage of students at meets or above using that second 9 weeks benchmark. As described previously, second 9 weeks benchmarks mirrored the STAR test in rigor and item type and covered standards cumulative for the first semester. In math, we introduced the yellow bars. They reflect the percentage of students scoring meets or above on weekly warm-ups administered as practice on standards with the most need from the middle of the year benchmark. To put this in context, in 5th grade, for example, 41% of students scored meets or above on STAR in 5th grade last year. 45% of 5th graders scored meets or above at the middle of this school year on standards taught through the first half of the school year. The most missed standards from December were retaught and practiced weekly through the month of January, reflecting 63% of 5th graders scoring meets or above on those specific standards. While data in 3rd grade decreased between how 3rd graders scored last year on STAR and how this year's 3rd graders scored at the middle of the year, they have made significant growth on standards in need, as represented by the 69% at meets or above on the warm-ups, the yellow bar. Are there any questions about elementary math?
Questions from trustees? You sure you don't want to get a question in here, Mr. Rainwater? Let's get it. Let's go.
Carrie, you said the standards are retaught. Were those standards consistent across campuses for the school district?
That's a great question.
Oh,
A
thanks.
majority of our math standards and need after the December benchmark, yes, were consistent across all 31 of our campuses. There were a few outliers in which those campuses, of course, did reteach plans around their most critical standards of need. But based on the scores that we received, we were considerably the same around the particular topics. Some of those topics were TEKS that were taught within the first 2 or 3 weeks of the school year. So when we retested in December, there was some opportunity there. There were also some standards that are more difficult and need additional practice throughout spring semester when we start talking about multi-step problems and the rigor increasing across each grade level.
And you'll reteach those?
We
before
did
the
start
test.
reteaching those already in January, and we will continue as we gain through additional content here in the third 9 weeks. We will also be practicing those standards.
I'm thinking that speaks to an aligned curriculum and a curriculum across campuses in KISD. Would you agree?
Yes. I know, this is very impressive.
JoJo, you're out of control.
Well, one of the things that we've talked with you about in years past, most recently were the efforts to be sure that the exact same instruction that occurred at school A occurred at school F, right? And so with the iReady classroom math curriculum, that's a high-quality curriculum that's approved by the state, we've been implementing that kinder through 8th grade. So the iReady intervention is the diagnostic that Dr. Parker talked about that gives students information for their personalized pathway. So Carrie will assess, I will assess, but then it's specific to me. But you also have the opportunity to identify standards that are low across the content that's currently being taught. So we do see alignment between what's happening with direct Tier 1 instruction and what students are doing during their intervention. And then the intervention also says to a teacher that these 4 students are struggling with a particular concept. I mean, you know, you might be. These 4 students are grouped according to content, and then the resource tells the teacher exactly what to do with those students, and it gives them the product to use. So the alignment is really key. This is our first year of implementing this in elementary and middle school, and so we're hoping to see that our gains continue like that throughout the course of the year.
It's very
And
promising.
so our benchmark 2 data is there, and then at the end of the third 9 weeks, we will administer a full-blown STAR assessment, because that'll be closer to the actual STAR, and then campuses will be able to do their remediation plans according to what their data has shown them.
Thank you.
Any other questions from trustees? Okay.
Mr. Mintz?
So again, not being an educator, I'm trying to understand this a little bit. So let's just work with 4th grade for a moment. So last year it was 38, and now we've decreased mid-year to 35. Is that 35 based on an assessment of the entire year's worth of work, or 35 based on where they are in time and space at the time of the test? Okay. But then if you look at how do you explain that significant difference between the mid-year and the January? Like, you think those two would be aligned?
They would be aligned if we did not do anything to intervene on behalf of the standards that we knew were of concern. So in December, when we looked at the neediest standards that equated to that 35%, we immediately went into action to reteach and practice the skills of greatest need. We've already seen within a month, those standards in need improve towards 45% after our efforts within 1 month of the neediest standards from first semester.
And does that track with historical, so just looking back at say, you know, the 2nd grade, right, where we went from a pretty significant jump. Does that trend line that we seem to be seeing in 3rd, 4th, and 5th, does that project well that we are going to, at the end of the year, see an increase?
This is the first time that we are using month-to-month warm-ups to track that data, but it is promising that all of those yellow bars, just plainly speaking, are better than the blue bars, because that means that our continued practice is making an impact on current instruction. And as we continue to review and/or practice additional standards, for instance, that are being taught today, or after we get data from that third 9 weeks benchmark that Dr. Creighton mentioned, we will know exactly what position we're in to be prepared. So instead of just guessing what we might do at the end of the year over a full semester of accumulated standards, we have a better handle on month to month how we're tracking towards gaining growth and progress.
What do you think is the singular thing that's driving, I mean, these are all, look to be positive trend lines. What is the top 1 or 2 drivers of this?
For elementary, it's the consistency in RLA of using the same Tier 1 resource from year to year. That came up repeatedly today as we looked at early literacy data. As teachers gain skill and confidence in what they're teaching and how they're teaching it, they can continue to refine that craft instead of being back at square one, learning something brand new. In math, we did change our Tier 1 instruction resource in K-8, as Dr. Creighton mentioned. However, the resource is so much more robust than ones we've used previously, and because it's directly aligned to the intervention system that we're using, students directly, every single day, almost within minutes of that Tier 1 instruction, are then able to work through their personalized pathway, and there's a constant link between filling what they need and what they're being taught as new curriculum.
So consistent delivery of high-quality curriculum.
Yes, sir.
And I would add alignment K-8.
The alignment that we're making across K-8. Mhm. Thank you.
Any other questions from trustees?
Making sure I'm not in Dr. Parker's way. All right, aligned with elementary as well, the math goal for secondary, middle, and high school STAR assessed students is 60% being at or above grade level, which is the green line, by 2029. Its short-term goal is also 43% of students will score meets or above grade level, which is reflected by the red line. The gray bars that you see in 6th, 7th, 8th, and Algebra 1 are STAR results for 2025, and the blue bars in 6th, 7th, 8th, and Algebra 1 are the middle of the year test results. We too took a STAR test with 23, 24, 24, 20, anyway, 22 and 23 STAR test questions on them so that we could get an assessment of where students were over information taught, not over any prior TEKS based off of our current pacing. The questions that were asked were questions that were taught to students. So they haven't been taught on things they don't know. Same thing with third 9 weeks. Our assessment will be a full STAR test, the 2025 STAR test, so that we can assess students over all of the TEKS that will be assessed at the end of the year. Of course, we don't know exactly what's going to be assessed because things change, but at least it gives us a good indication of what students will know and be able to do. And then we too will also be able to, we're doing some remediation plans to support students based off that third 9 week STAR. Not that we're not doing them now as well, but once we get there, our curriculum has time built in to do some remediation specific to things that we know we need to work on. All right, campuses can also see this data for their campuses in real time through our Eduphoria system. Comparatively, from end of year 2025 to middle of the year 2026, all grade levels have made progress towards the goal after having only experienced a half a year of instruction. 6th to 8th grade math increased from 3 to 10%. Algebra and 1 increased 7%. That Algebra 1 is a combination of 8th and 9th grade Algebra 1 because that's how we get the results. So that 34% is across that. Our Algebra 1 students in the middle are performing higher than our Algebra 1 students at the high school. So they're at about 83% in the middle, and then they're at about 22% at high school on that. There's more students at high school, so that's why that doesn't equate to an exact equal half. So I just want you to know why the numbers don't match out. High school has about 2,000 students. Middle school has about 600 students. So they play a different role on those bars. But I just wanted you to know why it looked like that. While no grade levels exceeded the lead measure for 2026, Algebra 1 is within 2% of the 43% 2026 goal. Like elementary, the yellow bar indicates the weekly warm-ups that we've been given to track progress on low-performing TEKS. After the second 9 weeks benchmark, sixth grade grew 11%, eighth grade 21%, and they've shown considerable growth on the low-performing TEKS. As elementary has, and I'm going to address seventh grade in just a moment, but as elementary has done, we too are spiraling in the low-performing TEKS, one low-performing TEK and one TEK that we know is going to be tested from current. So we're doing a low-performing TEK and a current TEK on our warm-ups. There are 2 questions on each of the warm-ups, and the warm-ups happen 2 times a week. So they definitely are warm-ups. They just are real quick so that we're not taking away too much instructional time because we still have TEKs we need to cover. So that is a big part of what we're working on. And then based on those TEKs, we may have to re-spiral as we go into the reteach. But that is what we're working on right now. Seventh grade math, as you can see, has shown a decline from the warm-up scores to benchmark 2. So within that, we have this week, as we're looking at all of the data, we are going to, before Mr. Rainwater asks, we are going to do, because I know he will. What are you going to do about that, Dotma? We are working on a plan. We have our coaches pulled off and our math DISs working together to create a plan to be able to support seventh graders. It is a change in curriculum a little bit. Sixth and eighth are more algebra aligned. Seventh is more geometry aligned. So it's a bit of a change of curriculum. So we are going to work on those TEKs that we know are coming up and focus on those moving forward with a plan. So we are working on that. I just want you to know that. As a matter of fact, we just talked about it today as we're pulling people off campuses and beginning to do some of that work. Also in Algebra 1, you don't see the yellow bar for warm-ups. We are starting those. They started this week, so the next time that we come to you, we'll be able to have data on that. We were able to get a high school DIS that can now support some of the high school work, so Dr. Lyles is able to focus on middle school more now. So we thank the board, we thank Dr. Davis, everybody who had played a role in that, because that's really been needed, so we can focus on the middle school. We know the middle school is struggling, and we want to spend the time and the effort where we know the students need it the most. Yes, ma'am.
Madam Secretary.
Have we had conversation about the seventh grade, the fidelity of the warm-ups twice a week? Are we sure that they're actually administering those?
We are
Like
monitoring. Dr. Lyles monitors every week. She sends me an email. We send the campuses an email. We see whether they're doing the warm-ups or not. She sends the first email. I send a follow-up if they're not doing, or if they've gained. We're having celebrations. If they're struggling, we're talking about the why behind it. So we are speaking directly to campuses that aren't. When we initially started warm-ups, we started actually before elementary, so we've been doing warm-ups a little bit longer. So
middle
we've
school?
gotten into a rhythm. Secondary is what I'm talking about when I say we. So we have begun, they expect those warm-up emails at the end of every week. So we are having those conversations. Also, just to, because it may come up as a thought, Mr. Rainwater, we also have iReady in secondary, but we're not using the diagnostic right now. We're awarded a grant through TEA to be able to use IXL. That grant ends at the end of February, so next year we will be using iReady, but we were monitored by TEA on our usage of the grant, so we could not switch to iReady in the middle. And I would like to say, just for the campuses out there in the land, they did use it well enough that TEA constantly praised us for our use of IXL. So that has been going well for us. It does have all subject areas within it, so we're able to do some science and social studies, but it's been a slow roll, especially in our high schools, to be able to get kids in the intervention room. So we are working through that process.
Mr. Mintz.
One more question, I guess, to the group at large. So as I sit here, this is, I'm cautiously optimistic. I think I'm happy to see things moving in the right direction. So that makes me nervous. So my I guess my just comment in general would be, as we're doing this and things look, initial data is good, let's do a good look at what could possibly go wrong. I live my life in the world of what could possibly go wrong. And so I would just kind of do some analysis and say, okay, we're going in the right direction. Where could things fail? Where do we as leaders need to place emphasis on checking things, on making sure that things are properly resourced? And again, that's going to vary campus to campus. But I would just ask that we do a hard look at what could possibly go wrong, and let's try to figure out what that looks like before it happens.
Absolutely. I will say that under the leadership of Dr. Buckley, Dr. Creighton, Dr. Osborne, and Dr. Davis, we've been getting out on campuses, checking for HQIM usage. That's the high quality instructional materials to ensure that they're using what we have. We do have some conversations sometimes when campuses aren't following the pacing and doing the things that we need to do, but we will continue to focus on that and then continue to find other things that we know we could be focusing on to support that learning.
And I would also just, again, experience, but in different realms, like talk to the teachers, like find out from them where they think things are going well, and let's get maybe a little bit bottom-up feed. I think y'all are moving in the right direction. I just want to make sure that we don't come back here, at the end of the year and go, well, we were doing great in February, but now we have a dip. So let's try to anticipate. Thank you.
Absolutely. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Let the record reflect at 8:29 PM, Madam Tina Capito had to leave the meeting. Welcome.
Good evening. We're super excited to talk about 1.4 because it truly is a reflection of the ultimate goal of the district. We are preparing students at every grade, but also we need to prepare them for life after high school. Okay. So priority 1.4A has to do with college, career, and military readiness. As you can see, we're hoping by the June 2029, we'll have at least 94% of all our students graduate within 4 years, and at least 88% of them graduating students will meet the standards for college, career, and military readiness. Right now, we are at already, in February, at 71%. This is a great indicator for this time of the year. As we look at CCMR, we are looking at alternative ways to obtain CCMR through advanced placement, dual credit, military enlistment, and CTE certifications, not just to earn CCMR indicators, but also for scholars' lives after graduation. Any questions?
Questions from trustees?
Good evening. I'm sorry, Ms. Burke, could you spend some time with whomever as it relates to the changes that are taking place within CCMR and alternative ways of still meeting that standard?
Yes, sir. At this time, there's a course called College Bridge, which is one way that students can obtain a CCMR, but that is going away. So what I alluded to in the last section is that we are looking at alternative ways. There's more ways to get CCMR than just College Bridge. We're underestimating the resources that we have in this community that can help scholars succeed. Not just to meet that indicator, but are we setting them up for what they're going to do once they graduate? Increasing within military enrollments, taking in an AP class, also taking dual credit. A big thing that we're looking outside of the box is getting students more CTE certifications, not only just so they can be more marketable once they walk across that stage, but that can build. And we're going to talk about that in the double block middle school. Barbara trying to think outside of the box, because you can't just put all your chips in one basket on College Bridge. So we're already ahead of the curve. All of us are working together trying to think what are the ways that we can maximize what we have in KISD and that our kids deserve more than one way to make sure that they reach that indicator.
Thank you.
So priority 1.4B is the outcome for dual credit courses. So by May 2029, 30% of our annual graduates will meet CCMR indicator by completing a dual credit course, and 10% of our annual graduates will also meet CCMR indicator by earning an associate's degree. So there are 3 ways that students can earn the CCMR through dual credit. A 3-credit hour course in mathematics that's passed with a 70 or higher, a 3-credit course or higher in English, language arts that's passed, and if they have a totality of 9 dual credit hours in any subject. So those are the 3 ways that our students can earn CCMR by dual credit. We anticipate that our percentages will increase as students have the opportunity to complete the second semester this year, spring 2026 courses.
Questions? Well, you gotta at least come back up and say that wraps up the presentation, Dr. Creighton.
That concludes our presentation.
Thank you. I'm about to say, like, I don't know that. I'm thinking everybody's gone, so that's the case, but thank you, we appreciate it. Okay, now we'll move to item 6B, which is discussion of Texas Partnership Application Evaluation and Recommendation of a 2025-2026 Operating Partner. Welcome, Dr. Osborne. Welcome, welcome.
Good evening, President Williams, Board of Trustees, Superintendent Davis. I most certainly have to start by thanking and congratulating the System Scorecard Priority 1 team. We promised in December that our team would be up here talking about their own work, and I believe that they were fantastic, and we are quite proud of the work that's been done, the team at both the district and the campus level. Tonight, I'll be presenting one of our most important updates on our call for quality schools. This presentation is the culmination of about 4 months of activities post-optimization decision to move forward with 1882. And on behalf of the Evaluation Committee, the district administration, and our superintendent, I will be presenting our recommendation for an operating partner for Manor Middle School. In my previous update, we had just closed our application process, and we were preparing to evaluate the submission from Third Future Schools. Okay to proceed? Okay. And we want to provide a little deeper, okay, no problem. Okay. No problem, sir. We want to provide a little deeper insight on the application evaluation, which included 2 key pieces: the due diligence and research around our application submission, and then the capacity interview. To talk a little more about that, we had an evaluation team. Those members were selected based on their areas of expertise. Many of them are in the room tonight: academics, Dr. Creighton, operations, Mr. Heckwenberg; from the finance area, Callan Vaden; and human resources, Mr. Baker; and then a community partner, Ms. Tanika Driver-Moultrie. The evaluation team utilized the model rubric because we utilized the model TEA application process, and that rubric was quite robust. As I mentioned in the previous presentation, it had 82 success criteria across multiple domains. Those domains are listed for you below. Those 4 areas, in addition to the school overview, included academic plan, their financial plan, governance and operations, and their existing partnerships. Across those 82 success criteria, the team rated at meets, partially meets, or does not meet. Different than my previous presentations, I wanted to bring this to life a little bit for you, also with the rationale that we must fully document the process for authorization of a charter entity when we submit our 1882 benefits application. So what you see here is a few pictures documenting that process. Starting on the top left, one of our requirements was to conduct an evaluator training. So you see that evaluation team in the superintendent's conference room going through the rigorous steps, and they were rigorous, to evaluate Third Future's application. If you look, zoom in manually or lean into your computer, right in front of Mr. Hecklenberg, you see a binder that's about 3 inches thick. That is the application from Third Future. In addition to the application itself, they provided 12 attachments. I have to thank our administrative staff that put that together for the evaluation team so we could walk through that process. What I don't have a picture of up here is the rigorous work that the team put in, thanks to those ICE days. I'm sure they were grateful. They went through that application against those success criteria, top to bottom, so I cannot thank them enough for doing the heavy lift of due diligence, in addition to preparing and completing the capacity interview. In the top center, you see our technology team preparing for that capacity interview. We actually tested out a Cisco module for teleconferencing because we held that capacity interview as a virtual opportunity. So that's us in the school leadership conference room preparing to conduct the interview. And then you see on the right top picture, once we were prepared with my laptop, the Cisco system, and then the Promethean, so that we could see and hear all things and effectively evaluate the entity's application. After that capacity interview, which was just over 2 hours, we conducted a debrief. We sent follow-up questions to Third Future, and they sent follow-up information back related to our final questions. And then we just wanted to capture as well who participated in that capacity interview, and that's listed on the far right-hand side. And we have Superintendent Zach Craddock here with us tonight. I won't list that off for you, but just a little bit to document the robust lift that this process has been for the team, because we know it's an important decision on behalf of the district, and it is ultimately the board's decision and our recommendation. We really wanted to do it with fidelity. So that brings me to our recommendation. Based on a preponderance of evidence from the application itself, as well as the capacity interview, we rated Third Future schools as meets or partially meets in all of the 4 domains. And as a result of that, our evaluation team is recommending that the Killeen ISD Board of Trustees approve engaging Third Future in the operating partner process for Maynard Middle School, which would enter us into the season of contract negotiations. Before I go to the timeline, I do want to stop there for any questions.
Mr. Rainwater.
Dr. Osborne, was there a building principal on this committee?
No, sir, there was not a building principal on the committee. The advisement in the authorizing guidebook from TEA states that senior level executives with expertise in the particular areas should be the members of the committee, as well as an external party. What the guidance does advise us to do is seek campus feedback on the performance contracts process, but that's not the guidance at the evaluation of the application level.
Wow, and that's a TEA guideline?
I have worked directly from the authorizing handbook, yes, sir.
I regret hearing that, but thank you so much.
Of course.
Questions from trustees? Mr. Rainwater.
I'm sorry. Is it, and I asked you this before, but I didn't ask it correctly, but is this charter school the only charter school of this type that we had to choose from? The 1882 group. Are there other 1882 charter schools?
Great question.
Thank you.
This is the only application that we received, and as I have corresponded with the cohort that I'm participating in of other districts that are moving through the 1882 process, I have not heard of another charter entity that anyone is bringing on.
And their 1882 is recognized by the agency, so we have no choice.
We have a choice, and our recommendation is to move forward with the single applicant that we received. Yes, sir.
What else could you have done?
As we walked through the optimization process, we talked about options there. The other scenario would have been us not moving forward with an 1882 or a charter entity, and that would have put us in position to potentially move into a 5th year of ratings. As Dr. Davis has mentioned several times over the last 4 months or so, we are in year 4 for 2 of our campuses. So essentially, we could have moved forward throw in the Hail Mary, for lack of a better way to describe it, but to be proactive in our approach to pausing the accountability measure puts the district at the least risk.
So pragmatically, we just didn't have time to start shopping around.
We are moving forward more strategically than many other districts right now.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. So to bring us back to our timeline, and it adjusts each time that you see it, we are right in the center where I'm bringing forward the recommendation. Again, the superintendent from Third Future is here to do a partner presentation, which was in your extras of board book. He will answer questions as a Q&A at the end of this. As of next week, my hope is that we will seek your approval and receive it affirmatively to begin what we see on there as the performance contract negotiations, starting as early as the day after the 17th board meeting. There is an adjustment on that slide at March 24th that previously said pre-spring break. We made the decision to add another opportunity to come forward with an approved contract. So right now we have 2 opportunities to approve the contract that we will ultimately move through after performance negotiations. That first opportunity will be March the 10th, which is pre-spring break. And that second opportunity will be March the 24th, which is post-spring break. In my dialogues with our council that we're working with outside of the district, we have a strict timeline already laid out where we believe that we will have a draft contract prepped by March the 4th, all things contingent upon the negotiations between our 2 councils. Last but not, yes, sir.
Questions from trustees on that? Okay.
Last but not least, the most important bullet on there is that application for Senate Bill 1882 benefits. All of these things must be nailed down prior to the submission of that application. To get a little more specific and then to wrap it up here, I'll take us through the bullets of next steps. We will come back for board consideration of approval next Tuesday on the 17th. We have started the process of engaging the councils. We are working with Walsh Gallegos for our external counsel in the performance contract negotiations. We have connected our council with the Third Future Council so that pending approval for the board, we can move as swiftly as possible through our timelines in preparation for opening school next year. On the third bullet, you see menu of services, and that's language we'll continue to utilize over the length of our contract, should we move forward. Just as a reminder, the menu of services is the fee schedule for things that we might continue to provide, although Third Future is running the instructional program at Manor Middle School. A couple of examples. We might continue to provide emerging bilingual support from our district department to their campus. We might continue to provide grass cutting services. Sorry, can't take that one off the list for you, Adam, while they're running the instructional program. We might continue to provide custodial services. In order to nail down that performance contract, our fee schedule or menu of services will need to be clearly defined, and that's something we're working through at the administrative level to get great, clear, defined cost for those services, whether it be by hour or by student. We'll continue to work through that performance contract. I've spoken a little bit to that. One of the other requirements, and that moves us into the green area on our wheel you see on the right-hand side, that's pre-opening. Should we nail down the performance contract and we're good to go to move forward in that 3-year contract, a key next step is getting the building ready, and because we will be authorizers of the entity, we will need to ensure they are fully prepared to open school. So one of our responsibilities as a senior staff is to develop that pre-opening checklist. What are the things that we do every year? What do we require of campuses? What do we do from the standpoint of facilities, staffing? We will develop that pre-opening checklist and then utilize it to ensure our entity is ready to open once we've released the school to them. And then last but not least, the submission of 1882 benefits, and that is an application process. I would want to remind the board and the public that throughout all of these decisions, that is the one piece that remains in TEA's oversight, the 1882 benefits application. That is why it's been so critical for us to do each piece of this process correctly. There are two benefits that we're essentially going through this process in order to receive. One is the financial benefit, which could be $1,000 to $1,300 per student in addition of financial funding. The second benefit, which we're most familiar with, is the accountability pause. By walking through this process correctly and then getting approved, TEA would approve the 2-year accountability pause. The accountability pause is 2 years. However, the minimum length of our contract is 3. Hey, I see you, Bishop Gilchrist. He threw us 3 up. Awesome. And with that, I will stop for questions and comments before I invite Superintendent Craddock up to the mic.
Mr. Rainwater.
Dr. Osborne, what about salaries and retirements and sick days and 504s? I mean, not 504s, but family medical leaves, FMLA. How all that apply to these guys coming in our staffs there? And
I could answer that question for you, but I think it would be best for,
Fine, that's
that would be
great.
for the entity. So, Mr. Craddock, if you want to come on up,
thank you.
of course.
President Williams, trustees, Dr. Davis, good to be back. Good to see you again. Would you like me to tackle your question first, sir?
Absolutely.
Yes, so salaries, all the employees, if this is approved by the board, the employees at Manor Middle School would be employees of TFS, so Third Future Schools. We would run all the payroll. We would do all the benefits. We have to, by law, pay into TRS, so we have to do that, so all that would stay. We do comply with all FMLA practices and procedures. Their state days would transfer, but their local days would not, just as if they were to leave Killeen ISD and go to Pflugerville ISD. Those local days would not transfer with them, but their state days would. We also add an additional 9 paid time off, so PTO days per year, and they can carry over up to 5 of those a year.
Will you follow KISD's salary scale?
No. We'll have our own salary scale. The average salary in Texas for a TFS employee is $75,000.
And our starting salary is what? Our average salary? Excuse me.
First year, 60,000.
60,000. So your school's going to be $10,000 greater salary for teachers going to your place?
On average, it's usually between 12 and 14 over the district. We run a hospital model for our salary scale. So not every teacher, we don't do the Excel spreadsheet where it's years experience and then education and you meet. So if you're an English language arts teacher or an art of thinking teacher, your average salary is if you have 3 years of experience, you're looking at $77,000. If you're an elective teacher, it'll be about 65 to 67. We're going to pay our reading, math, and science teachers a higher salary.
What about TIA teachers?
TIA teachers, we comply with all TIA. So if the
Have to
district
follow.
has TIA, we have an approved evaluation, and we do TIA in every district we're operating in Texas.
Thank you.
Questions? Whatever else you want us to hear.
That's it. I was just prepared for Q&A. I believe you have a presentation that I submitted. Since the last time I was here, we do have quite a bit of new data. You guys have had a lot of data tonight. I'm happy to say that our NWA data across the network in 4.5 months, we averaged over 1 year of growth in 4.5 months. So we're tracking to hit our metric of 1.7 years in 1 year's time. Right now, we're trending to get just about 2.
Mr. Rainwater.
We've had a lot of data tonight, but somewhere I read, I think you hire teachers that don't have college degrees?
No, sir. No, sir. So for our core instructional positions, we have a learning coach position. The minimum requirements for that is an associate's degree. However, I prefer a bachelor's.
Sure, I hope so.
Yes, we prefer a bachelor's for that, but a minimum requirement is associates. They're supporting students in a team center. The second is the teacher apprentice. So a teacher apprentice is training to be a teacher. If we have absences like hot water heater's broken and third grade math teacher needs to stay home and wait for the repairman, a teacher apprentice goes into that class. Instead of a substitute who knows nothing about our schools, nothing about our model, we have a full-time teacher apprentice, starting salary $63,000. They train under an expert teacher. They cover for that teacher. Minimum of a bachelor's degree. Teachers, all classrooms, teachers of record must have a bachelor's degree. They do not have to have certification under an 1882 benefit package.
Bachelor's degree in anything or
Bachelor's degree in anything, sir.
How do you pay for masters?
How do we pay?
Is it an increased salary for a
No,
master?
sir. We run a minimum, a 3-year average, and a maximum. If an employee believes they deserve more than the 3-year average, they must bring me achievement data that shows a track record of success.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome.
I got a question.
Mr. Gilchrist.
So when you start taking applications for your teacher positions, how long is that after we enter into the contract with you? You're going to start immediately?
No, sir. So if approved, what I would do is send a communications plan for Dr. Davis's approval or to his designee. And right now, we have 7 of these going on. We were at Hempstead last night, we're in Hempstead tomorrow night, Everman last night. And so I would send a comm plan, and it would be a town hall with staff, 4:15 whenever school's out. Parents, we would hold 6 town halls between 1st of March, or 1st of April and the 1st of July with family and stakeholders, communities. We would then do office hours where I would come in, I'd sit in a conference room, I would have our schedule, I would have our calendar, I've had our premiums, our benefit package, and it's a more informal time that they can ask more personal questions about their specific situations. I would run a Google survey link for 72 hours for the staff. They would have 72 hours to complete that. I would download it, sort it by who wants to return, who doesn't. The district would be provided that, so their HR is aware of that. And then we would come in for about 3 to 4 days, and I would observe teachers. I'm only for 10 minutes. I'm looking for 3 things, and that's it. Classroom management, content knowledge, and presence. They'll know the days, but not the time. We provide no feedback. Those that make the second round, we would set up further interviews, more standard questions, leadership scenarios. And then my goal would be, from the time we start those unannounced observations, 10 business days to be able to provide a list to the district that says, these are the people that we have offered positions to, so they know exactly who we would like to keep, and then exactly who we would not like to keep, and then they could place them or make them re-interview or reapply for a position. Only then and only then would I ever interview external candidates. First dibs always go to current staff members. Then we would interview external.
Talk to us about curriculum.
So curriculum, we have pacing guides, curriculum maps, specific to Texas. They're broken down by the month. They're color-coded, so we've taken the TEKS and we have color-coded them. Red is priority standard by frequency and intensity. What's the point value associated with that? Teachers must stay within 2 weeks of that calendar. They don't have to be lockstep in day. They have to be within 2 weeks. We have red standards, high priority. We have blue, then we have black. Black standards, we spiral into the warm-ups. They're not as critically important. They're not, the frequency and intensity is not as high as the red and the blue. What else with the standards? We have them for every grade level, every content, so grades kindergarten all the way through 8, specific by content. A pacing guide puts those out. They're tied to lesson objectives that align with the TEK, and then a demonstration of learning that is the what you may call an exit ticket that they do daily after 45 minutes. And it's a guaranteed and viable curriculum. We cover the standards prior to the STAR assessment. They're updated every year. We have full-time LCDs, which I call, they're just curriculum developers. They're constantly reviewing those. Once we get released STAR items, we take those, we filter those back in, and we adjust the maps real-time around usually the 15th of November is when they come out.
You mentioned in a previous presentation, 1 year before, about an exit ticket and reteaching.
Yes, sir.
Could you review that again for
Sure,
us?
yes. So at our middle school, we have 90-minute blocks, so they're 90 minutes of instructional blocks. The first 45 is traditional teaching. We call it TFS ready characteristics. Grade level, though. We teach on grade level. 45 minutes, highly engaged student engagement, and then we do a demonstration of learning, a DOL, 5 questions. It's assessed right then and there. Students that are proficient and advanced get a more rigorous assignment and go to a team center where they're supported by learning coaches there. Students that we call them Ls or S1s, they need more work, more time and support, they get more targeted scaffolded instruction with the content expert, the classroom teacher. So the class size is reduced the second 45 by about 50%. So grade level instruction, assess, immediate differentiation.
What about SPED, IEPs and ARDs and speech therapies and those kinds of?
Yes, so we run every single special ed program we have in our network. We do resource inclusion, center-based life skills, center-based behavior support if students need it. If the district has related service providers, then I would like that to be a menu of service option. Some of our partners do, some of our partners don't. So I prefer, because it's just the right thing to do, I think, to keep those people employed. I don't want to have to go find contracted SLPs. If Colleen ISD has them, let's keep them employed. We provide resource inclusion. Resource is during the LSAE time, so after the demonstration of learning, and we push in as well. Last week, we just had, Austin ISD is under conservatorship for special ed. I'm not sure. And the conservator visited Mendez Middle School. They said it was the best example they've seen in the state of least restrictive environment for special ed students.
Wow, congratulations.
Yeah. We provide accommodations for all 504 emergent bilinguals. We provide services for all tidally protected kids.
What's your approach to discipline?
Progressive discipline model. So we only have 3 rules. Students will not disrupt the learning environment. They will not disrespect staff, and 0 bullying. Now, we know students are students and they're young adults and they're going to make mistakes. We're not crazy people. We're not a military school. If the student is vaping, fighting significant, yes, we're going to suspend. Everything else is through a progressive discipline policy. If they need to be removed from the classroom due to disruption, they will go to a team center, open up a Chromebook, get on Google Meets, and they will Google Meet or virtually listen in the classroom and participate. They cannot escape instruction just by tapping of a pencil and little mischievous things you see in a normal traditional middle school.
Thank you.
Mr. Mintz.
It's a question really, I think, for parents and potentials and students. It's a broad question, so however you feel most comfortable answering it. How will the experience of going to middle school be different for those students in terms of activities, things that go on, parent-teacher conferences, athletics, pep rallies, all of that stuff? How is that going to look different?
Parent-teacher conferences, very similar, the same. We have normal scheduled parent-teacher conferences. Our day will open up at 6:30 a.m. So our doors will be open every day at 6:30 a.m. For students that need a safe place or mom and dad don't want them to wait at home and they want to drop them off on the way. We will start instruction at 8 o'clock, and we will get after it 184 days from 8 o'clock to 4 o'clock in reading, writing, math, and science. They will get 60 minutes of elective per day, 30-minute lunch, and they'll get 2 90-minute dyad sections. So those are other extracurricular opportunities. I was in a cosmetology class today. I was in mixed martial arts today. They will get, so 2 of those. Those are Monday and Wednesday or Tuesday and Thursday. We do not do those on Friday. So we're going to go hard from 8 to 4 instructionally, but it's going to be an engaging environment. You visited our campus. It's not a military-run campus. We want students with whiteboards. We do turn-in talks, whip rounds. These are all just instructional strategies where they are engaged in the learning. At 4 o'clock, they can go home. They can participate in after-school dyad. They can do all the athletics, everything. If we have enough, whatever the kids want to do, and we have enough to field a team, that's what we're going to do. They can do that, or they can just hang out in a team center because they just want to read a book or study or get some extra help. Our doors will close at 5, except if they're with a coach and they're with UIL sports or a school-sponsored event like band, fine arts, drama, and stuff like that. We do not have any bells. We don't have any bells in our schools. Teachers, so when we do transition, it's right side level 0. That's how we transition, and teachers transition with their kids to the next class. They will walk their students to their next section. They're also cohorted. So, and when their academic classes will be with the same students, the same 22, 23 kids. And that's how we make sure we have a manageable transition. Passing periods in middle school and high school are the most challenging times of a principal's day. And so by structuring our schedule and cohorting kids, we've eliminated those 5 minutes of chaos between each section. Other than that, that's really it. I mean, if they have uniforms, we keep them. If they don't, we don't have uniforms. We just have a dress code. Now, if the dress code says no ripped jeans, we will enforce that dress code. We will do that. The biggest thing for students is that, when they will see a difference in, they are going to read more, they are going to write more, and they are going to do more story problems than they probably have in the past. And all the adults better and should be a cohesive team that are all supporting each child throughout the day, 184 school days.
Questions? Dr. Davis, can you tell us if every employee at Manor chooses to say, hey, I don't want to return here, do we have the capacity, the ability to absorb them throughout our system, if that scenario was to be the case?
I would, Willem, before I turn over to you, sir, again, we have currently some unfilled positions in certain areas, so I feel very good by saying that absolutely, we have more than enough space.
I feel very confident in that. I think we have some specialized positions where, it might be a little bit more difficult to get them exactly what they currently have, but we will find them a spot that they can work for us next year.
So we'll have no employees who are saying that they feel as though they were forced to try to obtain employment at Manor because we have the ability.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from trustees? Mr. Rainwater?
Some things came across my mind. Don't want to grill you or cross-examine you. What about transportation? Is that our responsibility?
Yes, sir, I would like to purchase that back in the menu of services.
Okay.
So, we look forward, if approved, then looking at what is that daily rate.
Certainly.
And then we would like to purchase that back. So basically, you would withhold it from our monthly payments.
Do you have a dress code for teachers?
We do, yes, sir.
Good.
Yeah, we do.
And what about ADA monies? Who gets those?
Average daily attendance?
Yes, sir.
So our A3 addendum and our financial, that's the performance metrics there. We would set that, we would probably set that at 92%. But you guys have a really good ADA here from what I saw today. I would be conservative. I would set ours at ADA at 92%. I'm not sure what your current enrollment is or what your projected. And then that money would go to you. That money all goes to the district. So all your state, all your federal, all your 1882 benefits would go to the district. And that would pass through, you guys would pay us minus the menu of services so that we can meet our payroll obligations, our TRS obligations, and all of that. That's how the finance usually works.
In essence, you're getting the ADA monies after payment for services.
We get all the state revenue generated by the students minus the menu of services and whatever we negotiate as a district admin fee.
Thank you. And this $500,000, where's that going to go? If
The 1882,
yeah, isn't there a $500,000 grant in there or something that goes with the program?
I'm sure I'm following.
No, it's not in there?
We were not eligible for the CSP grant because we missed the deadline. We will be eligible for the next cycle. We were not eligible for this cycle. The deadline was February 3rd.
Oh, thank you.
Madam Secretary?
Mr. Craddock, you mentioned one of the menu of services that you might buy back would be transportation. What about school nutrition meals?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yes, ma'am. So usually the school nutrition program is a wash because it's just fully funded by the federal program.
Yeah.
So we would like to keep, obviously, your employees there running the cafeteria, and that's always a wash. We've never been in a partnership where it hasn't. I would prefer to purchase back transportation. So we would look at the cost per daily rates and then as well as the additional days that we're in and you're not. Related service providers, if you have speech, OTs, PTs, and you have enough on hand to provide coverage, we would like to buy that back at the hourly rate. Usually those are hourly rates. We would obviously cover custodians. We would like to purchase back your custodial costs. So it's a big building. I drove by it today. You probably have quite a bit. You probably have, the day custodians as well as your night crew. So we would like to purchase that back. And then obviously we cover all utilities as well.
And did I hear you say that you all have your own calendar? Separate from our district?
We do. So we go 184 school days. So our first day next year is August 5th. Now, what we do is we match up our days as much as we can to you. So all of Thanksgiving's the same, Christmas the same, spring break's the same. And we match our PD days up with you as well, because if, it just messes families up. Because if we're in session and you're not, and they have an elementary or high schooler, that middle schooler's not getting up and coming to school. And then that hurts our ADA. So we learned that the hard way. Usually what happens, we do take a hit on ADA until you open up. So if we open up August 5th and you open up, let's say the 13th, it is lower. But I'm okay with that because we'll still have 75% of the kids there, and I want to be in session for those 75. And when you go 4 days, we finish the Friday after Memorial Day. So that's usually about 4 days tacked on to the end of the year, because you guys probably finished the Friday before Memorial Day.
Question? Mr. Gilchrist?
You're going, I don't know if you consider this, but that big old base over there, they got a lot of kids that are connected, their parents are connected to that base, that go to that school. And if you don't kind of figure out and align with some of the things that they're doing on that base, you might have some ADA problems.
Yeah, with you. So my dad was stationed there. And so, I grew up on Army posts. And I totally understand that. The first thing we would do is want to partner with the military liaison there and work with the garrison commander. I was at Fort Stewart, Peterson Air Force Base, Fort Carson. So I know that we work very closely with both Air Force and U.S. Army. So that would be the first thing we do. And because I know as families PCSN, that's the first question they're asking is, where are they zoned? Where are they going? What are my options? What are the schools that are on post? What are the schools that are off? So our chief of schools was the former superintendent of Dodia.
Mr. Superintendent?
Yeah, it was just a point of clarity. Mr. Baker, I just wanted to be clear on as it relates to staffing, as far as that Manor staff, as it relates to our standard regarding uncertified teachers who are still seeking certification. Now, they have to go through, they're not guaranteed a spot. They have to go through if you could speak to that, I just want to make sure the public understands that.
If we have instructors who are not certified, remember, we require them, if they don't get certified by March, we require them to let us know and submit their resignation, because they're not guaranteed a spot for the next year, and they would have to reapply. So those folks at Manor who do not have that certification are still subject to that rule.
Thank you. Any other questions? Mr. Craddock, thank you for your time.
Thank you. I
Dr. Osborne.
appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Dr. Osborne, thank you for your work. And anything else you want to add?
We will be coming back next Tuesday seeking your approval to move forward for performance contract negotiations with Third Future.
Thank
That
you.
is
We
all, sir.
appreciate your work.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, we'll now move to item C, which is discussion of the Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math STEM program update. Welcome back, Ms. Burke and Dr. Hodges.
Get to serve as Executive Director for Academic Initiatives. Joining me tonight is Dr. Cynthia Hodges, the Director of the STEM program. At the board's request, we developed a presentation examining the STEM program and its impact on middle school academic learning. You have received the full presentation, which provides detailed insight into the program's vision, structure, and curricular initiatives. However, this evening, our focus will be on the educational outcomes the STEM program delivers for students. Dr. Hodges will walk you through the data, after which we will be more than happy to answer any and all of your questions. Dr. Hodges.
Good evening, President Williams, esteemed members of Board of Trustees, and Superintendent Davis. The data presented today pertains to the academic performance of students at the Middle School STEM Academy for the 24-25 school year. Each slide adheres to a consistent format. The initial set of data highlights the achievements of non-STEM students, while the subsequent set focuses on the accomplishments of STEM honors and gifted and talented students. The observable and measurable outcome goal for the Middle School STEM Academy is that by the end of the 24-25 school year, at least 60% of students enrolled in the STEM academies will meet the performance standards as defined by the Texas STAR EOC exams. And the STEM Academy students met that goal for every administered STAR and EOC. The objective mirrors the Title IV performance level goal established for the 23-24 school year. In the accompanying graphs, the yellow bar represents the average percent score on the exam. The gray bar indicates the performance of students achieving at the approaches level. The black bar denotes the percentage of students meeting the meets level, and the blue bar reflects the percentage of students attaining the master's level. And the graph on the screen is our STAR scores for sixth grade reading. The next slide is our sixth grade math scores. Same format, percent score, approaches, meets, and masters. Our seventh grade STAR reading scores, percent score, approaches, meets, and masters. We do not take the STAR seventh grade mathematics test. All of our students complete the eighth grade curriculum in grade 7, and so they are assessed on the eighth grade STAR. So these are our performance levels on eighth grade mathematics STAR. Percent score, approaches, meets, and masters. The Algebra 1 data is only comparing the middle school non-STEM students to the middle school Algebra 1 STEM honors and GT students. Again, the percent score, approaches, meets, and masters. Our eighth grade reading scores, again, percent score, approaches, meets, and masters. Our eighth grade science scores, again, percent score, approaches, meets, and masters. And our social studies or social science, US history, grade 8, percent score, approaches, meets, and masters.
Hi.
Are there any questions regarding our data?
Questions? You're good, thank you.
Thank you.
Thought there was a video coming up or something, I thought.
We do have. Sure. Okay.
Oh, it's your presentation, I thought she went back a slide, but no, it's,
Did you go back a slide? Okay, do you have that?
Where's the slide we need to be, our presentations?
Oh, okay.
okay, so.
Okay, good evening again, everyone.
Let me call it real quick, I apologize, because we're done, we're moving to the next.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I apologize.
We're good friends, so I can joke with you, Ms. Barr. We got to get you to, I got to close it and say, okay, we're done, and we're moving to that. Okay. Now, item D, discussion of middle school double block instruction. Welcome back, Ms. Harris, and welcome, Ms. Burke.
Thank you. Ms. Burke and I will be presenting this block. This presentation is in regard to double blocking math and RLA and math in the middle schools. Excellent. So the purpose of this is it's based on current middle school performance data, which we looked at in priority one when we looked at. We know that the middle schools are lagging behind. We must take focused action to improve student outcomes. Of our 12 middle schools, 6 are underperforming and 6 are performing at a C level, underscoring the need to strengthen Tier 1 instruction in every classroom in KISD. As shared during the Priority 1 presentation, while we have made small positive gains, our middle school program still needs significant strategic improvement. These improvements center on increasing time in Tier 1 instruction, strengthening the quality of Tier 1 instruction, and providing targeted additional support from certified RLA and math teachers. As highlighted in the STEM presentation, which you just saw, teachers that implement a double block for math are seeing significantly stronger results. STEM campuses are performing 43% higher at the MEETS level in math, and they have a double blocked math, which they didn't talk about, but that's what's occurring in math. And then they're also performing 41% higher at the MEETS level in RLA, or Reading Language Arts, demonstrating the positive impact of extended instructional time and intentional Tier 1 support. Tonight, we are presenting an overview of the proposed double block schedule designed to support outcomes and the superintendent's vision of increasing time in Tier 1 instruction in the areas of highest need.
Good evening. Okay, so once we were given the task, the first thing we decided to do is we've got to get the voices of the people that are in the room. So we did create a guiding coalition. First of all, we want to thank the board for their vision last year in creating the PLC periods for the math and the English, professional learning communities, and what this presentation is building upon it. So when we looked at the coalition, we had middle school principals, middle school deans, and district leadership. All right, within that, we had 7 different variations of schedules. So the first one we looked at was just double blocking math. The second one, as we have there, is 2 consecutive class periods for math, but in reading and language arts, 2 periods, but they weren't joined together. The one that we are pushing for today is math, 2 consecutive class periods, and then 2 consecutive class periods for RLA. We also looked at A Day, B Day, which 1882 alluded to, the 4 periods per day, the collegiate block, which is what early college high school is on also. We did look at the new education system model, the Houston-based model, and we also looked at 8 and 9 period days. As part of this work, we did look at all of these double block models, and what we wanted us to do is have the voice of the people. And so from this review, and under district and outside consultant leadership, the coalition developed a viable proposal for moving forward that they felt best met the needs of the students. This is the math and RLA 2 consecutive class periods and honoring the PLC for all subjects. Oh, I gotta do mine. Okay. When we met, we're talking about the priorities. And you can see here, the district wants, they would like to maintain the traditional Bell schedule that includes double block mathematics and reading and language arts in grade 6 and grade 7, while protecting dedicated, uninterrupted PLC time across all content areas. When the expansion of PLCs may not be feasible, the priority we would hope would still be given to mathematics and RLA. The district also talked about implementing AVID to strengthen key transition points from grades 5 and 6 and from 8 to 9. Within this, we would complete House Bill 1416 science interventions for year 6 and address intervention needs in additional subject areas. Opportunities for 8th grade students would also still be available to earn high school credit, but we would also like to expand them. Additionally, as I alluded to, the district will expand CTE offerings by introducing principles of information technology, creating pathways in IT support and services, networking systems, and programming and software development. Through these pathways, students may become program completers, earn industry-based certifications, begin earning CCMR indicators earlier, and supported projected over $3 million in funding to help offset the program costs. So when we look at those priorities, once again, keeping the schedule that we have within the same time constraints, looking at professional learning communities for all subjects, so teachers would have a conference, but then they would also have a professional learning community, which has already been afforded to the English, RLA, and math at this time. Another big priority was that also students that were within special programs would still have the chance to have an elective. And so that was something that was very, very paramount and forefront in everybody's mind within that room, but then also to expand CTE opportunities for high school credit. Okay, so here is our time frame. Once we established the guiding coalition to ensure campus perspectives, on the first meeting we had the voices of the district personnel. We had fine arts in there, we had special education, and we also had athletics. So all voices were represented at the district level in our first meeting on the 5th of December in 2025. As you can see, we met with the guiding coalition 5 times, and each time the plan was revised and updated to incorporate new information. The plan was then reviewed by the superintendent and senior staff before being shared with all principals on January 21st.
Okay. We have attached a proposed schedule. This is an example of a student's schedule. It's not how every student's schedule will look because the classes are offered throughout the day at different times. So this is just one schedule, but it's not the only schedule that people would have. So we're looking at first period in this example schedule for 6th grade would be from 8 to 8:49. And also, there would be a 4-minute intermission as a break of classes, 8:53 to 9:46. That'd be the double block math and advanced honors classes. Then at 9:50 to 10:39, 10:43 to 11:32, that's all the same block of time. That's double block RLA and advanced honors. Then we would have lunch. This student would have science, then social studies, then an option for PE, pre-athletics, or band, choir, and orchestra, and then AVID intervention or their special programs so that they would still have the opportunity to take PE, band, or choir, or orchestra. In 7th grade, you can see it falls out a little bit differently. It would be double block, science, social studies. Then they would have PE or athletics, and then fine arts, CTE, or AVID. We don't have athletics in 6th, but we do have pre-athletics, which is a part of PE. Again, if a student had special programs, it would be intervention or the special program that would fall in that block. 8th grade, math, RLA, science, social studies, everything is single blocked, lines up towards the high school. We would have a fine arts or PE and athletics, an elective, which would be they could take their languages other than English, Spanish for high school, or another language for high school, a fine arts, a PE, or an opportunity for intervention if they need it with their 14, 16, because we do have to, based off that House bill, they have to have a minimum number of minutes that or hours that they create or have in order for us to say that we've supported them. So 15 hours if they failed with a high score, a high but not pass high approaches, and if it was low approaches, then we would have to have 30 hours. So we have to build in that time into the school day to support students. And then again, AVID intervention or a special program for students. We have talked about remembering that this is a proposed schedule and this is a proposal that we are bringing. Really what we wanted to focus on and we wanted you all to know is that we know that we need to spend additional time in math and additional Tier 1 instruction in language arts. We saw from the STEM that that's working for them. We heard from the group that's coming from Manor. They're also spending 90-minute blocks. We know we need to get more time in the classrooms. One of the conversations that we had this year with our intervention periods is that all of our teachers provided intervention to our students, including choir, PE, everyone, but not all of our teachers truly understand the content the way our math and RLA teachers do. So we're going to build the intervention period 2 days a week into the double block So they're supported by their math and RLA teachers, or reading language arts teachers, within that block. So they truly do understand that content and can help support them even more. We are using IXL, and it has great features to it right now, but nothing replaces the strength of a strong teacher that understands the content. This would result, these double blocks result in 126 hours annual increase in Tier 1 instruction in math and RLA respectively. The PLC time that Ms. Burke spoke to you about, that's the time where we need to get the teachers the support that they need to be able to teach, the high-quality teachers. We have teachers right now that are brand spanking new, might not be certified, but we are working with them and having that time every single day to support the instruction, to build their arsenal, to work through the Tier 1, to do all of the PLC things that we are doing within PLC, the know and show charts, the annotations of the lessons, learning actually how to teach. We could do that within the PLC times and strengthen our own instruction. The CTE courses that Ms. Burke referenced to give us some additional funding to make these things happen are what we are looking for. So special programs, we wanted to make sure that all students were able to have an elective. One of the things, though, that we did talk about is we do have some options, so we are going to go back and look at the possibility of how can we include both fine arts and band if it's possible. This structure right here provides the maximum amount of time in math and RLA, which is why the Guiding Coalition landed on this, and it's why we're proposing it. Because as we've spoken and we've heard from the board, as well as Dr. Davis, right now, we've heard the term, we're in an epidemic in the middle. We are not growing the way we should be growing. If we want to grow the way we should be growing, then we're going to have to put our money where our mouth is and spend the time, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but we've got to spend the time in Tier 1 instruction to give the students what they need. So this is the proposed schedule so that we can spend the time. And of the schedules that we looked at, this schedule maximized the time for students to be able to have that instruction. So the heart of our schedule is the double blocking of math and language arts. It's grounded in the data that you saw in priority 1. So, and the PLCs are imperative for teachers to be able to do. But we will review the other options. Mr. Rainwater, I know that was a question, and Susan said that we will review the other options. We will take a look at it, but we wanted you to see the strongest option and the voice of the people on the campuses that say, we've got to have this additional time, and the avid support to help students to be able to learn to study, to be able to make that transition from 5 to 6. So that's the reason this option is available, but we will look at the others. Well, we have another slide, so not any questions yet. So our next steps are to finalize the schedule, revisit it with the coalition, revisit it with senior staff, revisit it with Dr. Davis. Then, once we have that finalized, we're going to meet with HR to review additional FTE allocations. We know giving everyone a PLC is going to create the need for additional allocations. So we also have to look at funding with that. And if we have more math, more RLA, then some teachers with additional certifications might have to look at different things. As Mr. Baker said, they may not land exactly where they were, but everybody will have a position. And with additional time dedicated to Tier 1 math and RLA, we have to ensure we're staffing classrooms with the highest quality teachers. So we need to start looking for reading or language arts and math teachers now to get ahead of that curve. So as soon as we make this decision, we need to make that a priority. More time is built into the schedule. We have to ensure our technology is fully updated and compatible. And if additional staffing is required, the budget has to be aligned. Curriculum and instruction, we have to start building these master schedules. We are changing the schedule. We can't just roll that over and just use what we've had. We have to build these double blocks in, so they need that time to begin working on those and including avid courses. And then professional development, we have to begin planning, because if we're going to give this double block, then we have to plan intentionally for what the double block looks like and provide the curriculum to meet the double block needs, and also to support the teachers as they're making the transition from a 45-minute block to a 90 to 100-minute block. All right, any questions on that?
Questions?
Okay, well, that wraps
Hold
up,
up. I'm sorry.
I wasn't quick enough.
Madam
Ms. Evans.
Secretary.
Well, you let Marvin have all those questions, so.
I
Here
did.
we go. Well, first of all, kudos to the coalition. Really impressive that we took time to get to the voices who are at the table closest to the kids in instruction. So I really do appreciate that part. I do want to remind us and those listening that we have used double block in the middle school before.
We use double block
And
math.
math and language arts,
For
pretty similar
six,
to the
just not
proposed
hooked, right.
schedule. We used the
Absolutely.
AB day, but whatever. But it was successful,
Yes, ma'am.
extremely successful. We were at it for 3 years, and every middle school at the time
Improved in their
progress.
scores. And one of the things
Really
I feel like
impressive.
we didn't do as well when we did that, because I was a principal at the time, was we didn't provide the professional development to get everybody
front.
moving quickly enough and everybody moving consistency with equity. We are going to do that this time.
Good.
Mr. Superintendent.
Thank you, ladies. Fabulous job. And so I just want to make sure, as the public is listening, to be clear, this is not an easy decision, but it's necessary. So I remind everyone of our current reality, and you articulated it well, not my quote, but TEA's quote. We have a middle school epidemic. That said, guys, it's not rocket science. Now, what we do is very complex. But research suggests anytime we're in school improvement, when children are behind, there's two fundamental things that must take place. And first of all, we have to find more time. We have to provide children with more time, teachers with more time, and with more support. So how do we get more time? We only have so much time during the school day. We have to capture children during the school day. So the last time I checked, the state of Texas haven't taken over a school district because of athletics or fine arts. Now, we value that. I can assure you we do. My son went to college on an athletic scholarship. I was in athletics. We value it, but please understand our current reality. So I want to be crystal clear that we value it, but keep in mind we have a sense of urgency. RLA and math, we have some serious issues. We have to find more time during the school day, and we'll have to find a way to provide children with more time and support, and we will do that. So I'm asking respectfully for the community and the staff throughout the district to get on board, because we're going to do what's best for children, and that's providing more time and more support. Thank you.
Mr. Rainwater. Good. Thank you.
Okay, with that, this concludes this presentation.
There we go. Thank you. All right, we're going to now move to item E, which is discussion of a delay of teacher certification requirements. Mr. Baker and Company.
Good evening, President Williams, Dr. Davis, board members, thank you so much. We need to talk about House Bill 2 and the requirements under House Bill 2 and how we can incorporate the requirements of House Bill 2, but continue our programs for our Grow Your Own, our teacher residents, all those pipelines you as a board have helped us create and make successful over time, because our ultimate goal, as we've said here many times, is to decrease the number of teachers without certification in our classrooms. We want every teacher in teaching in Killeen to be certified, and so we've created these pipelines to get them in place. But now we have this new legislation, and we need to talk about it and how that will have an effect on us. So basically, the legislation provides for this. During this year, 25-26, we can keep our DLI plan in place, which you've been made well aware of, that we have these folks that are uncertified. They have a bachelor's degree, but then they have to go through, get in a program and start to work towards that certification, as I spoke to earlier. In 26-27, according to the legislation, that's next year, we will no longer be able to place those folks in K-5 reading and math. Well, that's difficult because in some of our schools, we have a teacher and they teach all the subjects. And then we have our Grow Your Own candidates who are doing quite well, but they haven't reached the spot to where they have that certification, so that will affect our Grow Your Own program. And 27, 28, we won't be able to put any of those teachers in a reading, English language arts, math, science, or social studies, what they call foundational subjects. That's according to the law. Now, however, the state knows that many districts like us have these pipeline programs in place, and if we follow this to the letter, it will have a serious effect on us and our pipeline. So, the House Bill 2 does update those teacher certification requirements. They have those new limits on certification exemptions that are phasing in, but the districts may request a state-approved transition period. That's what we are proposing to do, but we need your help to do that. So, that transition plan basically wants you to develop, implement, and monitor educator and staff talent pipelines, like those teacher residents that we have with Texas A&M Central Texas, like the paraprofessional to teacher program, which we call the teacher KISD Teach, where we have the teacher apprentices, and it's been very successful, and Grow Your Own Pathways, which we hope down the line to introduce, which would be actually looking at our high school students and creating a pathway for high school students who want to become teachers to work them through the program. And that's for down the road, but that we would hope to get there. We will need to provide ongoing training, communication, and coaching to participants in these programs, mentors, which is a big part of the program and where we can get some extra funding, and campus leaders. We need to train up our campus leaders in these programs. Monitor certification progress and program outcomes to ensure educators remain on track. And as you know, and when I do my Priority 2 presentations, we talk to you a lot about that, about how we're monitoring our folks on these tracks and how well we're doing. And also, the last point here is we need to maintain our collaborative partnerships with universities. With us, our main partners, Texas A&M Central Texas, we have a very strong relationship with them. Also, educator preparation programs. Those are those alternative certification programs. Our number one partner right now is Teachworthy, but we also work with a program like Texas Teachers for Tomorrow, and community organizations to support the recruitment, placement, and certification completion. So in your materials, we had given you the plan that we propose to send to the state, the KISD Delayed Teacher Certification Proposal Plan. As part of that plan, and it's in your materials, we have to have goals, and we've gone over those goals with you to get those teachers that we bring in these kind of programs certified in a certain number of years. We have targeted groups that we look at, and those are like those aides, those teacher apprentices that we put in the Grow Your Own program. It's also those folks in alternative certification programs. We have an implementation plan and a sustainability plan that we put forth with 8 key items that we will ensure to make sure these pipeline programs continue to flourish. And then we have a timeline that we put together. And the timeline that you see up here is more of a plan that goes through, including this year, a 5-year plan. We put 4 of those years here. We're in the current 25-26 plan where we have those programs going, but we continue to get within this 5-year period to get these folks that we put in these pipeline programs, these Grow Your Own programs, these alternative certification programs, we get them to do their coursework, finish up their degrees in some cases, do their coursework for the certification plan, to take those subject matter exams that they need to pass, and to take their PPR exam that they need to pass. And then do all the work that the alternative certification programs require, which is classroom observations, and they have these things called modules that they have to complete. So we need to get those folks all in this process, and we hope by 2030, our goal is all teachers of record are fully certified in those foundational programs. To to go on, the other part of the application, which you see in your materials, is we have to talk about the currently number of teachers we currently have without a certificate or permit. As of the time we wrote this plan, that's 274 teachers. You'll see we had to break it up by reading, math, science, social studies as well. You might look at the subtotals in each of those subjects and see, well, wait a minute, that doesn't add up to 274. That's going to be a lot higher. But remember, a lot of those teachers teach multiple subjects at the elementary level. So they're going to count twice or 3 times in those counts. So you can see we have to provide kind of a historical statistical analysis of how many of these teachers we've had, these uncertified teachers, both in foundation subjects and non-foundation subjects. And then we have to describe to the state who do we have partnerships with already, and we've described our partnership with A&M Central Texas and our partnership with Teachworthy. And then we had to provide a more specific timeline that has the phases of the House bill combined with the key activities and the people responsible for making them happen through the years. If I can get you to approve that plan and the board president and the superintendent to sign off on it, we can submit it to TEA and therefore get that transition plan so that we can more appropriately transition into the state requirements of House Bill 2. So with that, I'll take any questions.
Questions from trustees? Yep. Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it.
So we need to go. So can I hit G? Hit G and go close. Okay, thank you. Okay, we're gonna make a little maneuver here on the agenda. We're gonna jump over F, and we'll come back to it, and we're gonna go to G, which is a discussion of the number and dollar amounts of board scholarships to be awarded for fall 2026. Ms. Vaden, welcome.
Thank you very much, and good evening. Tonight, we will discuss the board scholarships. As you know, board scholarships have been given each year annually. We have in the presentation, this is a list of the scholarships that here's the list of all of the scholarships that we currently have. You can see some of those have been donations that were made in a significant time ago. And so especially some of those, depending on how long ago they were, you can see they were very significant donations, so we're appreciative of that. The other piece I do want to add this year, we have combined, as you know, as part of the philanthropic donation, the board designated $2 million to go towards funding scholarships, and so that has been included this time as part of that presentation. This is, very quickly, this is a list of all of the current investments from those endowments. You can see both by type of investment at the top, and then those individual investments at the bottom, both underneath the balance column of the current amount, and then again, comparison to that original endowment on the right. So you can see, again, substantial growth over this period of time. How we determine the amount that is eligible to be provided each year for scholarships. We start again with the original endowment amount. We then take the last 3 years or 12 quarters, that average of what those balances are in those accounts, multiply that by 4%, and then that becomes the cap for what we will award each year. Not only does this provide has provided growth in the available scholarships that we've been able to provide, but also allows those endowments to continue to grow. And so with that, this is kind of hard to read, but we do have recommendations across the bottom. You see the historical amounts at the top, and then recommended amounts for this year that would begin to be used in the fall of 2026.
Questions from trustees? Thank you for your work. Hopefully everybody's tuning in. This is an exciting time, giving away a lot of funds to deserving students. And I guess pretty soon y'all will be asking us for a couple of people to volunteer and participate in it.
I'm sure we will.
All right. I look forward to nominating Ms. Adams, so. All right, thank you.
Which
We
way you want me
appreciate
to
it.
go?
Okay, we are now going to go back into closed session under Texas Government Code 551.071. No voting will take place in closed session. Any action the board wishes to take as a result of discussions in closed session will take place after the board reconvenes in the open meeting. The time is now 9:50 PM, and we are in closed session. The time is now 11:05 PM, and we are reconvening from closed session. No action or voting took place in closed session. No action is needed. In regards to agenda item 6F, there's no need to take that item up. So we'll now go to discussion items number 7, discussion of future board meeting agendas and trustee remarks. We'll start with Mr. Mintz.
So I just want to, I've lost track of my days. On Friday evening, was able to go to Harker Heights and watch the nightclub performance. And man, I got to tell you, those kids are absolutely amazing. Great work by the folks in their fine arts department who put that together. I guess the ship has sailed for this year, but if you get a chance to go next year, I mean, there are some professional quality performers that we have in our district. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. Kids were amazing, well done by the staff, well organized, just a great event. So I would just like to say thank you to them, and thank you for all the staff that put in the hard work to make it happen.
Thank you, sir. Madam Secretary. Trustee Gilchrist.
I just want to just ask the district to continue to pray for our kids. We've got kids that are doing all kinds of things, and just continue to lift up parents and kids, and just let them know that their lives are just beginning, and they got a lot of life left. So I just really want to say that to people. Don't give up. Thanks.
Thank you. Trustee Rainwater, you good?
I'm good, Chris.
All right. I just wanted to, a couple of things. One, February, Black History Month. Thanks for everyone out there who are doing great programs. For me, when I think about Black history, I tell people it's important that Black history is a history that you can see, touch, feel, and realize and make it a reality to you. And for me, I'll say a few names from this community that I was able to see, touch, and experience their impact because it made me believe things were possible. First, I'll start with Ron Gray, former principal at Shoemaker High School. Connie Green, city manager for City of Killeen. Tim Hancock, mayor for the City of Killeen. Debbie Nash King, mayor for the City of Killeen. Sandra Forsythe, who was Manor Middle School when I came through there. And then last but not least, a lot of people like to use the name Alice Dowse. School named after her, but see, this kid here went to Haynes Elementary when Alice Dowse was the principal there. So I could see it, I could touch it. I know about the pink house in Marlboro in which she lived in. I came and spoke saying, hey, she's worthy of a school to be named after her. And so I know how she impacted my life. And so I tell our young kids now and everyone, hey, don't spend all your time just looking backwards. Spend your time worrying about now. What's behind is important, but what is forward is important because the history of the future will be based on what you're doing today. And so make sure we're doing the right things today for all people, not just people of color, but all people in America is what I would say. So in Black History Month, just some of the folks that have come through the City of Killeen that have done great things that you'll probably see up on walls and classrooms and things of that nature. But everybody plays a part in the history of all people. And so I say that. And then last but not least, I want to recognize Elise Key, who is the female basketball coach at Shoemaker High School. I think year 3 for Elise Key, if I'm correct. clinched the district championship. I don't think Shoemaker girls just have a boatload of district championships under their belt. And so I want to congratulate her because the story is a very special one because Elise played at Killeen High School under an individual who was a pretty good coach over there. I won't say her name. But she played at Killeen High School, and she's one of our own, and she's doing well here. And so I'm proud of her. But her grandmother, and we talk about how this approach of CASD family, her grandmother was my lunch lady at Killeen High School. So in the old days, you had your lunch lady. You kind of personally, like, that's my lunch lady. And so Miss McDade, who was Elisa's grandmother, she was at the cafeteria at Killeen High School, I can't tell you, for a long, long time, legend. But you think about how she helped raise her grandchild, who is now being very successful in the district in which her grandmother worked in. And so I want to say congratulations to her and the Shoemaker Lady Gray Wolves on a great season thus far and continue to do great things. And then that's all I got. Mr. Superintendent.
I will leave it there, sir. That's a great ending. Thank you for those words. Thank you.
All right, and then now we'll move to agenda item number 8. Madam Secretary.
I move to adjourn, sir.
We have a motion by Secretary Adams. We have a second by Trustee Mintz to adjourn the meeting at 11:10 p.m. on Tuesday, February 10th. All those in favor, show of hands. We have 6 in favor, none in opposition, 1 absent and not participating. 5 in favor, none in opposition, 2 absent and not participating, and Vice President Susan Jones and Madam Tina Capito, who excused herself from the meeting earlier today. So the meeting is adjourned by a 5-0-2 vote. Thank you for your time on today.